9th, 2026. The time is approximately 6:03 p.m. Welcome. Thank you for being here this evening. We're going to start off with Commissioner Moore. Would you please lead us in invocation? And if you are able, please.
Let's bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for waking us up this morning to a brand new day. Thank you for allowing us to come together one more time. We thank you for your grace and for your mercy. We ask that you be with us tonight as we be about our business on tonight. Help us to make good decisions. Lord, continue to give us knowledge and understanding to be able to do that blessed will. Help us, oh Lord, to do those things once again that will be pleasing in your sight. We ask you to look upon us, and we are so grateful that you woke us up this morning to this brand new day, one we've never seen, we won't see again. But we ask you to have mercy upon us. Have mercy upon those that are sick, those that are shut in, and even those that are in bereavement right now. Actually, have mercy upon all of us. And Father God, we'll forever praise you, and we'll forever honor you, and we'll forever give you the highest praise. All these blessings we ask in that Son Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Ms. Taylor, if you would please do a roll call for us at this time.
Commissioner DeVito? Present. Commissioner Warren?
Present.
Commissioner Moore? Here. Commissioner Burton? Here. Mayor Myers?
Present.
City Manager Derek Martin?
Present.
Assistant City Manager, CRA Manager Bonnie Loveday? Present. City Attorney Don Holmes?
Here.
Putnam County Sheriff's Office Major David Ushery?
Here.
Finance Director Stephen Coughlin?
Here.
And Pamela Taylor, Code Enforcement and Reporting Clerk.
I think everyone's here. Again, we thank you all for being here. We have quite a few announcements. To begin with, we want to thank everyone, especially all of our Rotarians from here and those that came to visit and help for an incredible catfish weekend. The crowds, the weather couldn't have been better. The crowds were incredible. And it's my understanding that a lot of dollars were raised for our students. So for all of you that volunteered, for all the hard work you put into it, it's months and months and months and months and months and months. On behalf of the city, we thank you for all that you do. And congratulations on another successful year. We look forward to 45. Next year will be 45. This weekend, on the tail end of that, we're coming up on our boat races. So the soda boat races, they were here 2 years ago. You've probably seen them arriving in town now. So they will be here by tomorrow morning. A lot of them are coming in today. And you will see them out on the lake practicing. The weather so far this week has not been so great, but it looks like it's going to turn out to be an incredible weekend. I think it kicks off Friday night. There will be a meet and greet at the Crescent Fish Camp. Todd, thank you very much. Where's Todd? I thought I saw Todd over there. He's not here. Okay. Anyway, he's doing that evening, and I believe it begins at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. 4 to 6 is when they're going to be doing that. So please stop in. It's a great opportunity to meet the racers, and then they'll be racing both Saturday and Sunday. They will have vendors there and food, and our restaurants in town are open and will be serving as well. So if we can support them. The Women's Club this weekend also, they're going to have their yard sale, and it's going to start tomorrow. Thankfully, the weather's cleared up for that. It's going to start at 8 tomorrow morning, and it'll go till 4 o'clock, both tomorrow and Saturday. So please stop in and do what you can to support the Women's Club and all the vendors that will be there. The Women's Club also has on April 15th from 1 to 3, it's their monthly bunko. and the cost is $6. And then April 17th is bingo. Doors open at 5, be in your seat by 5:45, and they're gonna start calling bingo. We have coming up on the end of the week, at the end of the month, we have a big music festival that Ernie is putting on for the city. It's free of charge, and that should be a big weekend. It's gonna be in the park from 11 to 4. Ernie Evans, he does a lot of sponsors. He did the Road Havers. He always does the Road Havers big music festival there twice a year. With Lee Greenwood has been one of his star people. I think it's Rhonda Vincent, who is gonna be his lead performer. That Saturday, they will have vendors and they will have food in the park. Also that day, starting off the day, concerned citizens in our market square, about 7 o'clock in the morning, will be having a yard sale. They will be having food there. And so that will go from 7 to 2 o'clock. Make sure you stop in there on your way to the concert. So we've got a lot going on. And with that, of course, next month is Historic Preservation Month. So I'm going to ask Vice Mayor Lori if you want to talk a little bit about historic preservation and all the events you have going on for next month.
Sure, thank you. As you know, this is going to be the 5th year, I believe, that we're celebrating Historic Preservation Month here in Crescent City. And we've actually the Improvement Peninsula Historical Society has used it as a catalyst. We're also getting Malacca and Mono Park and Putnam County on board. So we'll be having the proclamation in just a few minutes. In addition to that, we'll be doing one in Malacca and Mono Park next month, as well as the county on April 28th. We'll be there at the county commission to receive that one. The big news too is that May 3rd, we'll be doing our next marker unveiling. So as you know, we helped sponsor with the city the Hubbard Morris House marker last year, and then this one will be for this year. And our hopes are to continue doing this on a yearly basis. This year it will be the Holy Comforter Episcopal Church. So if you would join us at 11:30 on May 3rd, we'll be having the unveiling there in front of the church. And so the congregation will be there and everyone else is invited, and it should be a lot of fun. The marker looks beautiful. It's over here in the city lot, so it's ready to be installed, and it's very exciting. And also this month we're having our normal program on April 16th at 4 o'clock. At the Women's Club, and it's going to be Shirley Edwards as our speaker, and she's going to be talking about the history of Palaka Central Academy. So that is always really interesting. She's going to talk about history and then also what they're doing to try and preserve it and kind of recognize the role it played in Black history in this county, so, and the state. So yes, we'll be having the potluck as well next month, which was the day of this June. Sorry.
There are flyers that say the 21st. I believe that's the third Thursday.
Okay, so the 21st at 4 p.m. will be our potluck that we have. And that's like the end of the year kind of thing because we take off for the summer. And so there's going to be some awards and stuff going on there. So it'll be a lot of fun. So please come out and join us, especially for the marker unveiling May 3rd. And there might be some other events that we'll be announcing later on. So thank you.
Thank you. Also, Purple Plum Players, they have got Murder on the Menu. And it's a comedy murder mystery dinner theater experience. It's written by Bill Hand. There's going to have 3 performances. May 1st at 7 p.m. at the Crescent City Moose Lodge. May 2nd at 2 p.m. at the Crescent City Moose Lodge. And May 2nd again that evening at 7 p.m. at the Crescent City Moose Lodge. They did ask that if you go to one of the earlier shows, please don't share the outcome. So with that, commissioners, do we have anything else? Commissioner Burke, do you have anything?
No.
Commissioner Moore? Okay, Commissioner DeVito?
No, but for the next agenda item, I have a motion. So, I don't have anything.
You don't have anything? Okay. Okay. So with that, we're going to move on to the approval of our minutes. Before us, Commissioner, you have May 12th, 2025, which was our regularly scheduled city commission meeting and our CRA meeting. I'll take a motion.
Well, Mayor, my motion is that we do what we did last time and that we address the minutes, either at the beginning or the end of the business items, because we have, two proclamations and it just seems to make sense to defer the minutes.
So if I can, I think that was, thank you, Commissioner DeVito, for bringing it up, because I asked Mr. Martin about that. I was not present when we talked about that at the last meeting, but I think that probably minutes, if we could do that behind the business items. He said he thought it was possibly just for that meeting, but let's go ahead and if I can get a second for that, can I get a second?
I'll second that.
So a proper motion and a second, we'll do a voice approval. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, so approved, so we're gonna move on. And at this time, I'm gonna open it up for public comments. So please come forward if you have any topics that are not listed on the agenda. At this time, they will be heard. This will also be, we have 3 minutes and we ask that you state your name and your address if you will. So please come forward if you have something that you would like to share. Okay, and no one comes forward. Thank you. I'm going to close public comments at this time. And we're going to move on to our presentations, which is our proclamations. And we're going to start with our Historic Preservation Month. Everybody ready? So the City of Crescent City Proclamation 2026-02, Historic Preservation Month. Whereas local historic preservation is an effective tool for revitalizing neighborhoods, fostering local pride, and maintaining community character while enhancing livability. And whereas historic preservation is relevant for communities across the nation, both urban and rural, and for Americans of all ages, all walks of life, and all ethnic backgrounds. And whereas it is important to celebrate the role of history in our lives and the contributions made by dedicated individuals in helping to preserve the tangible aspects of the heritage that has shaped us as a community. And whereas the Fruitland Peninsula Historical Society and other community groups are participating in Historic Preservation Month during May of 2026. And whereas the South Putnam community has embarked upon a new commitment to preservation, historic and archaeological surveys, the nomination of significant cultural resources to the local, state, and national register of historic places, the protection of traditional neighborhoods, the integration of historic elements with redevelopment, and the recognition, rehabilitation, and restoration of historic properties. Now, therefore, I, Michelle Myers, as Mayor of Crescent City, together with the members of the City Commission, do hereby proclaim May 2026 as Historic Preservation Month and call upon the residents of Crescent City to join their fellow citizens across the United States in recognizing the importance of preserving the history of communities and participating in this special observance. In witness whereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the City of Crescent City, Florida to be affixed this 9th day of April, 2026. Thank you. I think we have several members from the Historic Preservation. If you want to come up and say if there's anything you would like to say.
Good evening, and I'm president of the Historical Society, and we are honored to receive this again, and we look forward to the future ones. I also want to recognize the fine work of Commissioner DeVito and Commissioner Lori. They've done an extraordinary job in preparing for next month. And I also just heard that Commissioner Moore is also joining us. So welcome, Commissioner Moore. With that, standing are our wonderful directors, Vice President, Dr. Kevin Jordan, of course, and then Rachel Kavanaugh, Bob Lee, and Nancy Taylor, of course, and Marianne Braddock, who
Well, actually, we have my husband Ralph DeVito, and we also have Catherine Millard, who's also a member and lives in our historic district.
And
Yes, and right here,
Yeah.
yeah, right here. And Liz. There we go.
Pretty much filled the audience all day.
well, that's correct,
You want
Mayor.
a picture with everyone?
Yes, let's. Are we gonna come on up here? Okay. Where would you like us, Mayor?
We can come up here and the commission can stand in front with you guys.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Does someone have the camera and want me to take the photo?
We'll hold this up just like now. So we just have to make sure that Commissioner Lori, yep, there you go. I'll stand in here. I'll stand in here.
That's perfect. Wonderful.
Frank, you get back.
Hey, how are you?
Okay, everybody, chins up, everybody chins up. Everybody, you need us to
I think I can get everybody in.
fill in.
All right. There we go. 1, 2, 3. All right, I got a few of them.
Thank you,
All right,
thank you
thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Well
everybody.
done.
We'll get you a copy for next week. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Terrific job.
Thank y'all.
And, well, okay, yes, of course.
Okay, my husband didn't come stand. Okay, our next proclamation is gonna be Autism Awareness Month. And Commissioner Moore, thank you for bringing this to our attention. And I believe you have quite a few of your sorority sisters in the audience. If you all would like to stand up, you're welcome to come forward now, or you can wait, sometimes it gets a little loud. There's a lot, I know. I know, great colors. I feel like there's something else we're talking about. Okay.
Under $5,000.
Everybody, we just have to, right here, we just gotta keep this area open right here. There we go. Okay. Yeah, because we got, because you're on the street getting, and plus the owls got. Okay. You're good, you're good, you stand right there. So, the City of Crescent City Proclamation 2026-03, Autism Awareness Month. Whereas autism spectrum disorder, the fastest growing developmental disability in the United States, affects 1 in 36 children and represents an urgent public health crisis that demands national attention and response. And whereas the Zeta Mu Zeta chapter of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated is recognized as a premier organization that provides notable contributions to education, research, and funding for persons of color impacted by autism spectrum disorder. And whereas while there is currently no identified cause or cure for autism, Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated remains dedicated to promoting solutions across the spectrum and throughout the lifespan to meet the needs of individuals with autism and their families. And whereas in light of growing impact of autism spectrum disorder and the increasing need for greater awareness, Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated works to improve the lives of people of color affected by autism through advocacy, education, awareness, and funding, implementing their extraordinary power of SHE, social, health, and economic justice programs. And whereas the Zeta Mu Zeta chapter proudly participates in the annual observance of Autism Acceptance Month and World Autism Awareness Day, fostering greater inclusion, awareness, and understanding for individuals and families living with autism. And now therefore, be it proclaimed that the City of Crescent City hereby recognizes April 2nd, 2026 as World Autism Awareness Day, and further proclaims April of 2026 as Autism Awareness Month in the state of Florida to raise public awareness of autism spectrum disorder and many issues surrounding autism, as well as to highlight programs, services, and initiatives that support autistic individuals and their families. In witness whereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the City of Crescent City to be affixed on this 9th day of April 2026. Thank you, each and every one of you, for all that you do to make this more for the, I guess you would say, for the person suffering with autism and their family members, to ease their lives. So thank you for all that you do. And so with that, thank you. Would you like to say something before we take a photo? Okay, who would like to speak?
My name is Keisha Davis. Thank you for having us here this evening. Autism awareness is one of our national initiatives. It is something that we want to bring resources to our community. So the main role is to spread awareness and connect families to resources. As many resources are now coming back to Putnam County. So we want to make sure that the families know what's out there and that they have access to it. So we thank you and appreciate you for having us here this evening.
Thank you. Come on, Commissioner Moore.
Someone have a phone or camera.
That might be a good idea, maybe. That might be a good idea. Maybe I'll come over here.
I can come over here. No, I'm good. I can stand right over here. I'll stand right there. But you gotta, let's move over a little bit there. There we go.
That's perfect. That's good.
Here, we'll hold it still.
All right, y'all ready? 1, 2, taking a couple, 3. Here we go.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Hey, it's nice to see you all.
I didn't say a word. I didn't say a word.
I know. It's hard to find, so I don't hold it against you.
She is. She'd been pretty good standing up here so long.
I didn't recognize her, but this is our famous school board member, Ms. Gilliard. Okay. With that, we're going to go into the sheriff's office, Major Ussery.
Good evening, everyone. Sorry, I started a little early there. Good evening, everyone. I'll start off on our last month March's report. We had one theft that I activated. It was a subwoofer speaker was taken from a car. So due to the extensive timeline, the time of reporting was last time was seen in December of last year until now. So I obviously inactivated that just because the car was walking the yard, abandoned, been there for a while, broke down, noticed this was missing. Traffic activity, again, I do not include the traffic. crashes that happen in parking lots unless there's injuries or anything like that. So the little 50 meters of parking lots where reports are not taken, they either self-report or they're not damaged. If you have a report, I will report those things to you guys, but they're very few. The first one was at Summit and Orange Street, vehicles in the parking lot, vehicle parking, exited the parking lot, and turned back another vehicle, just that, came out of a business, turned in front of someone. Second one, turned left into a prospect and pulled out in front of somebody, not paying attention. And the third one, they hit a U-turn and pulled out in front of somebody, not paying attention. So doesn't appear that any of these were extensive damage, so I don't think that it was speed related. Speed was an issue. I know some of the drivers said that they didn't see the other car. So goes to tell you to be careful when make sure you're a good defensive driver, especially in these scenarios. Going to our general activities, 213 calls for service total. 46 of those were traffic stops, 3 accidents, 12 total reports, 4 arrests, and no charges being filed to the state attorney's office. Here's your 6-month comparison, very low numbers, so yay. And that's all I have for that.
Thank you, thank you. I do want to say that,
I was gonna talk about that.
well, first off, do you want to talk about the memorial? I was gonna leave that for you on the 21st. Yes.
Yes, on the 24th is the law enforcement memorial down at the riverfront, so I would encourage everybody to get there. What can't remember what
I
the
think
time
it's
was.
7:15.
7:15.
I believe it's 7:15. Maybe we're supposed to be there at 7:15.
Is that being, I'll make sure I get that so everybody's aware of it, but it's either 7 or 7:30, I can't.
I would say be there at 7,
I'll confirm
just to get, you know,
Okay, so
seated,
it's at 7:30.
and get a spot.
Mayor,
If you've never been there, yes,
can I
Commissioner
just
Bee.
clarify, there's something a little off with that microphone.
I know,
It sounds fuzzy.
There you go.
It's my understanding
Make it
it's the
back off the reverse.
21st.
It's the 21st.
Okay, because it sounds like he said, right, but it's 22-1.
Is that better?
No.
Is that better?
Still a little fuzzy, but
Sorry. I hear echo when this was.
I hear it too.
So it is the 21st, and I'll confirm the time before we leave here today. I would like to, if anybody's out there watching, the Catfish Festival, as you said, Mayor, it was, went flawlessly. We always have our after party after the Catfish Festival that usually migrates over toward, Bay Street and the park over there. Had nothing but positive things to say. There's an extremely large crowd, and when I see it get to the point where we're starting to have traffic matters, that's when I start to call it. I normally wait till about 9:30, but on this day, or last week or the weekend, I had to stop it at 9 o'clock, and still had no problems. People shut the music down, and I had probably 1,500 people out here in 45 minutes to an hour. So very positive, and I think next year, working with those individuals who are promoting those events is imperative as we have in years past. And we can talk about some different traffic flow techniques for next year to kind of help me out just a little bit. But I couldn't ask for a better crowd. I couldn't better ask for more cooperation. It was amazing, the unity between us and everybody that was involved in the whole festival from beginning at 9 o'clock in the morning until 11 o'clock at night.
Thank you. With the amount of people that were in town, both for the Catfish and visiting friends and family, to have no incident is pretty remarkable. So we attribute a lot of that to you and your deputies. So thank you all. You were in number, and we're very grateful. We're very, very grateful. So, does anybody have any comments for the major? And I would say that if you've never gone up to Palatka to watch that on the river, it's very moving. It's a very moving ceremony. The 1024, which is a foundation that's established at the sheriff's office, they host that, and it's there to benefit first responders. But this is for the law enforcement, and every time I've been there, it's It's a very sacred event and very
It is.
moving, so please, if you can, go. So, yeah, if there's nothing else. Do you have anything else for us?
I would just like to say thank you for the sheriff's office for organizing everything and taking care of everything on behalf of Weekend. I know that's a lot, and a lot of extra time, but it's good to hear that nothing happened, and that everyone was safe. I think we all had a good time. Most of the Sojerians were already passed out by like 5:30 after we cleaned up some of the park and then crashing, so.
I do want to correct one thing, you guys were there at 6 a.m. in the morning, because I was putting on catfish
that's right.
soup and you guys were there.
Only had one incident, that was someone got pepper sprayed, but that wasn't law enforcement pepper spraying anyone, that was someone that traveled. We got that taken care of very fast, and it was resolved, obviously very quick and easy. Other than that,
We appreciate it.
can't wait for next year.
We're at 45. It's gonna be bigger than ever.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, with that, we're going to move on to our, I guess with our CRA. I'm going to recess this meeting and open up our CRA meeting.
If I may, Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to formally introduce our new CRA manager, Bonnie Loveday. She's here today. She's got a little note for you all just to catch up on CRA business, and then she'll move the process forward. Go ahead, Bonnie.
You want to
Good evening, Commissioners.
come over to the, he didn't tell you that, did
No.
he? I'm sure it's somewhere hidden in that job description.
We are currently working on 3 commercial projects and 1 residential project for the CRA. So we're working on those applications right now. We are going to be handing out flyers pretty soon to invite to the next CRA workshop. And we are working on getting some CDBG funds for some additional projects. And that's what we've been doing right now, so we're getting ready for that. And then I would like to introduce Christina and Rachel. They're working on the downtown partnership. And they can give us some updates on that.
So Christina Marie has joined the Crescent City Downtown Partnership as the Executive Director. Welcome back. She kicked it off and she's working it again. So welcome, Christina. And Bonnie, thank you very much. The meeting is going to be, are you looking at April 20th?
It's going to be the 20th at 6 o'clock.
So the next workshop, I think that is, it's not for us, but for residents that are
Correct.
interested.
Correct. We did have one workshop before. We only had a handful show up. It was kind of bad weather. We're going to hand deliver out to the targeted buildings and specifically the businesses as well. Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. I just wanted to say that I'm happy to be back on board assisting the partnership. I've engaged with them for the next 90 days on an interim executive director basis. And my goal is to get the organization back administratively speaking, get everything up to date. There are some reports that are overdue and things of that nature. So I'll be working hard to clean up that and engaging the community again. And I look forward to the continued success of our Main Street program. Thank you.
So do we. Thank you so much. Okay, do we have anything else for the CRA? Commissioners, do you have anything for the CRA? No one has anything. I'm going to close our CRA and open them back up our regularly scheduled meeting. Thank you. Mr. King, I guess you're working 1 hour. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
No problem.
I think that's, thank you.
Just a quick test.
And that's
Yeah.
something I do want to say, Commissioners, just as a housekeeping, I should have done at the beginning. It's getting harder and harder with our equipment. But just make sure, please, if you speak into the mic, and we only one person at a time. And if you do speak, if you can introduce or say, Commissioner Moore, and so that it would help them tremendously. So, okay, with that, we're going to go into our consent agenda. On the consent agenda, we have the Historical District DOT sign.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. if I may, so the background on this is the FDP previously worked with the city under my predecessor on a design that was approved by the commission, and although it was approved, it wasn't installed. And upon review, staff submitted updated information to DOT. We received approval to replace the existing signs under the city's existing maintenance contract. This would allow us to eliminate the approach of having to modify or reapply for that DOT permit. That would reduce our time and our administrative steps. So I'm looking forward to getting approval tonight to move forward with ordering the signs as well. We can procure them locally here in Putnam County. And we have prices for those at $600 per sign, putting our total cost at $1,200. These, the funding would come from our proposed improvements account, which is our Better Place plan. Currently, account 002-0018-518-6631, which has approximately $19,000 remaining.
Only, okay, that's a little confusing because that's not how much we have in our Better Place. That's not how much we have in our Better Place.
Just in that fund.
Just in that.
Just in that.
Just in that
In
line
that
item.
line,
Correct.
that line, yeah.
Correct.
So just for the record, just so that there's no confusion, thank you. Anyway, this is on the consent agenda.
Yeah.
So I will, if no one is opposing of removing it from the consent agenda, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
We have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a proper motion and a second. Ms. Taylor, if you do a roll call for us, please.
Commissioner Burton,
Aye.
Commissioner Moore,
Aye.
Commissioner Lori,
Aye.
Commissioner DeVito,
Aye.
Mayor Myers.
Aye. So approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna go into our business items. I'm gonna turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mayor. So you guys have in front of you the agenda briefing report for the AIA contract for Robert E. Taylor, AIA architect. Currently, staff is seeking commission authorization to execute the revised AIA contract with Robert Taylor, which outlines the design, architect, and architect record services required for the city's fire station project funded through the state appropriation. Executing the contract will allow the project to proceed into the next formal design and development phases. I've also invited Mr. Taylor here to speak to you all and answer any questions that you have. And Mr. Taylor, if you'd like to come up, please.
Very good, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bob Taylor, or Robert E. Taylor, AIA architect, and I'm proud to be here this evening to talk to you about the new fire station for the city of Crescent City. There are 4 documents that you will have an opportunity to look at tonight. The first one, of course, is the AIA agreement that Mr. Martin had mentioned to you. The second one is a summary of work, which was formulated over several meetings with the fire chief and his staff, and Mr. Martin and Mayor Myers. And that's been updated as of the 3rd of April, so it's fairly current. There may be tweaks necessary for the summary work. But to me, this is an essential document, so we can proceed with the design of the facilities. The other 2 items in your packet will be the project for the property record card from Putnam County Property Appraiser's Office. And the last thing I asked Mr. Martin to hand out today was a template of the site plan for the Hawthorne Fire Station. So, Mr. Martin, I'll proceed with the review of the agreement. And please, ladies and gentlemen, if you have questions, please just stop me and ask those questions as we go along. On the first page of the document, of course, it just identifies the city manager and the city of Crescent City, me as the architect. And simply said, it is the architectural and engineering services for the new fire station in Crescent City. And this is located at this point at 500 Junction Road, which is an adequate piece of property as far as physical size. And I think will make a very good station, or a very good piece of property. On page 2 of the document, near the bottom, there's a owner's budget statement. And if I may, the city of Crescent City has received a state of Florida grant in the amount of $3 million. A portion of this grant will be allocated to architectural engineering fees, landscaping and irrigation design, civil and structural design, cost control, and cost for surveys, geotechnical exploration and report, fees and applications for the FDEP, SJRWD, and so on, and previous expenditures for other architectural and engineering services. Since an exact dollar amount is to be available for all construction numbers is unknown, the approximate cost that we're planning to use is $2.6 million.
this cost may be adjusted as required to accommodate actual costs once a more accurate amount for all services, fees, and costs are known. Right below that, there are milestones for design, construction, commencement, substantial completion, and other milestones. And since time didn't allow us to identify those, what I'd like to do is meet with the mayor and the city manager and others who are interested in setting up these milestones so that we can produce these services in accordance with the state grant. Okay? And we can write that into the agreement as a separate document. Okay, unless there are questions, at the bottom of the page, it begins to identify additional consultants.
Wait, let me finish. I know he was finishing, and then I'll go into questions.
I'm sorry, Mayor.
That's
She had a
That's
question.
okay,
Well,
that's
I
okay.
thought he said if there are questions. I thought you asked for questions.
He did, and then he was just, it's okay, he was finishing up at the bottom, he was finishing up at the bottom. So
Whatever you prefer.
go ahead, Commissioner DeVito, go ahead.
Okay, the 2.6 million, is that the construction cost or does that include the architect's fee?
That's the construction cost. The fees and other items will be identified this evening, and there is a contingency dollar amount that we'll identify.
Okay, because somewhere I thought I saw 2.4 million, but I could have misread that.
Wait,
Don't worry
one
about
second.
it, don't worry about it. Go right ahead, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. At the bottom of the page, there are certain services that we'll do outside of the agreement. We will coordinate those services. The first one is the geotechnical engineer. The second one is civil engineer. The third is surveyor. And then the fourth is a cost estimating consultant. I have met with these individuals and have requested and received proposals for their services and have identified the dollar amount for producing these services, which are included in this agreement. Additionally, I will retain as part of my services a structural engineer, mechanical engineer, an electrical engineer, and again, these will be part of my services. Consultants that are retained under supplemental services, the civil engineer, landscaping and irrigation, and the cost control consultant. That's on page 5.
So, Madam Mayor, did you say that we should not ask questions as we're going along with this?
No, he was just finishing up that page, so I was just asking her to let him finish that page, but he did. We're fine.
I
We
have
need a
questions,
question.
but I think she's first.
Okay. Do you have another question?
I was kind of waiting, so I didn't.
If I wait for 25 pages, I may have forgot what I was going to ask.
So if we're gonna go through this, so let's go through these page by page. So if we have, so as you go through it, if anybody has a question, please, by all means, let me know. So Commissioner DeVito, we'll acknowledge you first. You have a question?
No, I was going to wait until the end because
Okay.
I have
So Bob,
several.
I have a question. And I've just dealt with this in a different project, which will remain unnamed, but probably already known by everybody. Public project. When you retain an engineer, do you go through any kind of competitive bid process with the engineer? And I understand that competitive bid process with professionals is more a matter of a RFQ than an RFP, where you're looking at qualifications and then negotiating price. But since the city this document states that the city will retain the way that's written right now, the owner, which is us, right?
Yes.
Will retain the following consultants: geotechnical engineer, civil engineer, and then cost estimating consultant. My question is, is there a process by which those professionals are selected under any of the statutory frameworks, or did you just make that selection yourself?
Okay, the civil engineer, I produced an RFP, request for professional services, and solicited proposals from 4 different civil engineers. And the one that I'm proposing is Acre Engineering, who is the lowest and in my opinion perceived to be the best.
Fantastic. I'm not challenging that. I'm just glad to hear that there was a process by which you're recommending the different professionals that involve some form of competitive selection process.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. That was my question.
Very good.
Okay.
Uh,
Do you want to continue, or do you want to hear if anybody else has? Does anybody else have a question at this point? Okay, then you can continue. Thank you, Mr. Taylor.
So,
that kind of puts us at the bottom of page 5. Let's see, page 6 begins the architect's responsibilities as to our basic services. And in this case, there are 5 services. Schematic design, which is a preliminary design where we develop the floor plan and site plan and have a construction outline and the construction budget. And then we'll present that back to the city commission for review. There's a second design phase, which is a little bit more precise. We start looking at the structural, the civil aspects, site water retention, some of the applications that we have to make, things like that, the second design phase. And Mr. Martin, I think that would be the best time to review with the city, both cost control and our overall process. Again, we can have intermediate discussions with you or others that are critical, but I have negotiated with my consultants basically a 30, 90, and 100% submittal, and this is the way I would prefer to do it. Okay? The construction document phase, yes, ma'am.
When was that point that you said you should have the meeting with the city about cost control, during which phase?
It will happen in the design development phase, approximately 30% done.
Okay.
Now, I also get one, I didn't tell you, but I am gonna ask for one up front from the cost control consultant. Based on what we saw at the Hawthorne station, I wanted him to tell me what he thought it was gonna cost. We had some preliminary information from Mr. J.R. Clowns, the Assistant County Administrator of the county, and that's where we came up with the initial cost of the building in Hawthorne, which was about 2.6 million. Interestingly enough, as they ran into some cost elements, they were able to contribute to that. The county, according to Mr. Grimes, was able to produce a lot of the civil work, site grading, clearing, and so on. I asked him if he'd be willing to do that for Crescent City, and he said, I don't think so, unfortunately. But if the city has public works facilities that we could tap into, I think that would be ideal. And I know Mr. Harris has been helpful so far. He's offered to do the fire flow test, which would be an element that we need. And there are other things he's helped, Mr. Frank has helped us with the gas authority. So that preliminary information we're building into the budget to facilitate our design and control.
You good?
Very good.
No, Commissioner Vito, okay. Continue.
I'm sorry, Mayor.
You can continue. Thank you.
Okay. The construction document phase is basically the detailed drawings and specifications for all work. And once these documents are produced, they will be suitable for bidding the work, getting permits for the construction, and administering the construction, getting permits, bidding, and administering construction. This is what the contractor will use to build the building and the site. Okay? Competitive bidding is our 4th phase, and typically the grant likes us to bid this thing at large. So I will assist the city in preparing advertisements, invitations to bid in accordance with your bidding standards and state law. And then we'll set a time for receiving those bids. I'll help you review the bids and evaluate their completeness and accuracy and make a recommendation to award the contract, and ideally to the low bidder. Right? The 5th and final phase is construction administration. This is where the contractor takes over the work and begins to prosecute the work. We will periodically meet with the contractor, first in a pre-construction conference to review the documents and procedures for construction. And then as construction is started, we'll hold monthly meetings with the contractor, as well as periodic site visits to review the procedure and activities of the work. We'll create reports of our site visits in writing and give them to the city manager and the city, and also to the contractor. This helps us to monitor the work. He knows that we're either satisfied with the quality and the prosecution of the work, or that we have issues that we need to discuss. Having these monthly construction meetings helps resolve issues during construction and again to facilitate the work. At the end of that particular phase, we will have a substantial completion phase, which typically means that the project is ready, suitable for occupancy and use by the owner. There will be a punch list inspection and certain warranty inspections that we will go through. The contractor is required to submit certain warranties and documents, record drawings, and things that we'll collect on behalf of the owner, and then turn those over to the city once they're completed and reviewed by our office. Okay? Also, during construction, the contractor will submit certain submittals for pre-engineered metal building, mechanical equipment, plumbing equipment, electrical equipment. We and our consultants will review those for accuracy and completeness. We'll mark them approved or approved as noted and return those to the contractor. The purpose of the submittal process to endeavor to protect the owner from defects in workmanship and materials. The goal of the process is when the contractor orders these materials, he'll have high confidence that we approve them and they'll be suitable for use on your project. Okay? Changes in the work. If there are changes to the work, we will help administer those changes. If supplemental drawings are necessary, we can produce those. And again, these will be a document that will be added to the construction contract. We talked about the substantial completion phase, and on page 11, it identifies the things that we will do. So our 3.6.6, doing that substantial completion inspection, will issue a certificate of substantial completion and submit those record drawings and documents for your final review. Page 12 of the agreement is a rather important page. And that's one of the things I like about this contract. It identifies very specifically what our responsibilities are, what other responsibilities are. So as we go forward and say, hey, that's your job, this is my job, okay? So I've identified programming, I've identified site evaluation and planning. The civil engineering and landscape design will be under our control by our consultant. And I have retained this cost control consultant to help us control that. Conform documents for construction. The owner hopefully will help us with telecommunications and data design for your consultants and IT people. Other supplementary services are surveying, surveying, subsurface utility investigation, geotechnical exploration, and reporting. Okay. Unless you have questions about these, I'm going to skip further forward. Just a matter of information. We will provide general liability insurance, automobile liability insurance, professional liability insurance, all as identified in here. They're typically, except for automobiles are $1 million also. Our professional liability insurance is $1 million. And employees liability, those things are all included as part of the service. Compensation, this is on page 21. What we did on the previous project, it was a smaller project, and the Department of Management Services, as recommended by the state of Florida, says if the project cost goes up, the percentage of cost goes down. So we acknowledged that. Last time we used a 9% fee, this time we reduced it to 8% to be more competitive. Okay? And these other services that I've identified, the civil engineer services is that dollar amount is listed, $48,995. Landscaping and irrigation is $5,775. Cost estimating is $6,105. Surveying, subsurface utility investigation, and geotechnical exploration was an allowance. That was about $25,650. I've been working with this different company, NV5, and was able to lower that cost already about $5,000. So we'll reduce our contract amount by $5,000. And it's an allowance, so we can do that either by just direct letter to the agreement or on our payouts, however the city and the attorney decide to do that. Okay? And hopefully this will include most of the fees. We hope to be less than $300,000 for all fees, all consultants, and all work. So that's our goal. Leaving about $100,000 between the fees and applications and permits and survey, et cetera, as a contingency. The only difference, Mr. Martin, would be whatever's been spent so far. Okay, you have to deduct that from that. Okay.
I have another question.
Yes, sir.
So you indicated that the recommendation is that as the contract price goes up, the percentage charge goes down.
Right now, I've lowered the percentage based on what I anticipate the contract to be.
Right.
Yes.
How did the 8% number come into play?
Previously
it was 9,
Yeah.
now 8, but was there a formula for determining that?
Yes, you may be familiar with it. The state of Florida has a Department of Management Services, DMS.
I know of them, but probably not as well as you do.
Yeah, well, we actually printed out one of those documents, and it shows you if you plug in a dollar amount and identify the
complexity of the project, they will recommend a fee. Okay? And the last time, because it was a lower dollar amount, the percentage fee went up. Now it's a higher dollar amount, so the percentage fee goes down. So the state.
So it came from, there was a method to the madness.
Yes, sir, the state of Florida DMSP schedule.
That's fair. Again, basic questions, but if you don't ask them, I don't have the answer.
You may not know, that's all right. Very good. Are there questions on the agreement, Mr. Vito?
Well, actually, I have a question first for the city manager. I have several questions. So, my understanding of this agreement, and feel free to jump in here, is that we are billed periodically
Yes.
along the way. How are we paid by the state? When we are billed, do we forward the bill to the state, or do we have to provide that money up front?
I don't believe so, but I will get the exact answer for you. I don't have that.
My
answer.
understanding is that it's that we pay, then we submit it to the state and get
A reimbursement.
reimbursement. And I was told that reimbursement, they typically do it very quickly, because that leads into one of my questions, so. But
Which-
that's what, when we met with, the state.
I do
we
recall
talked
that.
about
I just don't know the exact time frame of what that reimbursement would be, the time frame to get it back. If it's 30 days,
Okay,
15 days, I'll find out.
but essentially, we have to have the funds available,
Yes.
to pay periodically. My concern about this, first of all, as far as I know, I got a copy of this contract last night as I was making dinner. And so I had a little time after dinner to review it, and then later today. And as our city attorney said, this is a lot of pages. I've seen two different cost amounts. I looked in the summary of the work that's dated April 3rd, and it talked about the estimated cost of the Hawthorne Fire Station was about 1.9 million, not including site work.
That's correct.
You're putting the cost for this at 2.6 million and your fees at 300,000. And that leaves $100,000. That leaves $100,000 for contingencies. When we had presentations about construction costs before, $100,000 does not seem like a lot of money for contingencies.
I agree. It's not very much.
I mean, is there a question specifically, or are you just stating about the difference? So we've had discussions on several occasions that the range really needs to be shooting for 2.2 to 2.7. This is worst case scenario. We're gonna be working through together as we get to the 30% to see exactly where we are. The footprint matters, and that's been reduced drastically from the original estimates that we had. Most recently with the reduction of the 3 bay or 6 bays down to 3 bays and other things like that. So the goal is to come in a lot lower than that, and we can't be up higher than that, so.
Well, that's my concern.
It's mine as well.
We're approving a contract that says 2.6 million and the fees based on that, and then, so does this April 3rd summary of the work, which is about 6 or 7 pages, does that say 3 bays?
It will say 3 days, it should say 3 days, that's your last summary.
It does say 3 bays.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, the 2.6 million, again, that's based off of Hawthorne numbers, square footage. We really, that's an idea for you all. We don't know what we're gonna get until we have a design, and we're not there yet. We're still working through that. So as we go through this process, and they've been made fully aware of what our budget is and our max is, and we're gonna have to take a heavier buffer than $100,000. This is just contractual, the worst case scenario.
And also, so is this the first time that the city attorney is seeing this contract as well?
The city manager emailed it to me earlier this week.
Okay.
So, but I have another question too now. I noticed that the experts that are being retained, one of them was a cost estimator.
Right. Steve Black.
I'm not really familiar with any of those folks, so the name wouldn't mean anything to me, but anybody that's built anything lately knows that construction costs have not gone down.
I agree.
Even for those of us who feel like we are not naive about those things, there are still some surprises when you start building now.
Wars, fuel shortages, material shortages, transportation costs.
Absolutely. I'm not blaming it on anybody, I'm just saying fact.
I agree.
So with that in play, the question becomes very relevant to me also about how realistic is the number that we're talking about. I mean,
I agree. And I believe that we talked about that number having a higher contingency built in it, and as the design gets tight, that number will also reduce and go down. This is worst case.
First off, remember, I'm gonna get my cost estimator to give me a budget number based on the Hawthorne Fire Station in 2027 numbers.
Right.
That'll be hopefully a little better for us.
so you say in 2027 numbers,
Yeah.
so they try to make an adjustment for the price per square foot from Hawthorne and bring it current to based upon the way things are now?
That would be the ideal, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I'm not challenging, I'm just asking, I'm trying to understand. Because I'm telling you, having just lived it, it's interesting.
Yeah, I understand, yes, sir. I do. And, we may have to make concessions. This first paragraph up here, when we talk about this, there may have to be concessions. We talked about 3 bays. I know the chief wanted the bays to be so big. I'm frankly looking at a 7,000 square foot facility as the first option.
Is the what?
As the first option, 7,000.
As
Which is
compared to
roughly-
right now, it's what?
Yeah. Well, it would be 7, that would be my goal to start.
Okay.
The Hawthorne facility had 3659 square feet in the residential and business area. It had 3290 square feet in the apparatus bay. So hopefully we can stay close to those numbers. And then once Mr. Black gives me his preliminary cost estimate, we'll know what to do. It's conceivable that we'll have to make concessions right up front. In the living facilities, I know when we were doing the East Black Fire Station, Don, we ended up having to shave a lot of things. And the last meeting we had with Chief Reiser, he was on task. He said, hey, we'll make the living quarters a little smaller so we can make the apparatus bay a little bigger. And rationale says that the living quarters cost more than the apparatus bay. So he's beginning to make concessions, and we'll try to maintain that attitude throughout the design.
Will the design allow for privacy for female firefighters?
Yes, sir. There'll be male and female restrooms, and everything in the facility will be handicap accessible. Okay, so there's separate dorm rooms. There's 8 different dorm rooms in the design.
Fantastic. Then one final question I have is our grant, this is grant funding, right?
Yes, sir.
Legislative appropriation.
Is our grant dependent upon us building a facility of a certain size or capacity?
No.
So if we end up with 1 bay and 1 room and an
They
outhouse,
just
we're okay.
basically said, you have $3 million,
Hopefully
do what
better
you
than that.
can.
Yeah, just saying, you know, just saying.
As we move in the design too, we can also have alternative bids.
Yeah.
Which will also help us, if we are over budget, we can reduce it down by slashing those out, so helo pad, extra bay, whatever.
The helo pad right now is basically compacted in little grassy structures. So,
Yeah.
right. Mr. Vito,
Without concrete, it is.
Correct.
but it'll be serviceable.
Yes. Because you have to have lights out there too, is my understanding. They would have to have some sort of light. So all of that costs money.
Sure.
Actually, this just occurred to me earlier, but it occurred to me now. Was the chief had raised a concern that we don't have access currently to a helicopter pad? Do we?
We have access to a helicopter pad right now, yes. We do.
At St. John's Recovery.
Yes, ma'am.
At St. John's Recovery. During construction, there could be some issues with it, but quite honestly, in talking to, even this weekend, I was talking to some first responders for the helicopter. I mean, they could land right here if they needed to. I mean,
Wow.
literally, they could land right here, as long as you have a vacant property. that they could land if they had to.
Because one thing that concerned me about, we had a big workshop for the site selection, and one thing that concerned me was, we had several discussions about this. The chief was very adamant that the helo pad be adjacent to the fire station, and different ones of us on the commission, some of us said, is that really necessary? But that drove a few things. Anyway, we were talking about finances, and that's part of it. So this 2.6 million includes no concrete and no lights as yet, or no concrete helo pad. I guess the whole facility will have lights.
I'll be honest, we don't have a way of telling that at this point right now without design. We really don't. The numbers are based on size. So you have a certain size area, and you have, what you have in front of you this here is the layout. And it's similar to that, but depending on what the size of that ends up being, then you extrapolate a square foot price of 400 to 450 a square foot. That's gonna give you your overall construction price for the building. Then you have your site work and your drainage. Those costs are gonna be a couple $100,000. This is a guesstimate at this point in time. We're gonna try to tighten it up as much as possible. I can't make myself more clear that we can't exceed our appropriation.
And I think we've said that all along.
Yes.
We can't go a penny over, but it's my understanding too, from the stormwater standpoint, we still don't even know what would be required of that, if anything would be required. And you're waiting on DEP still to even give us a go-ahead for this site?
I actually called today and left her another message today.
Okay.
Yes.
My concern, if nobody else at this time has something, is, as Commissioner DeVito mentioned, and this is something that has concerned me all along, in making sure that, knowing that this is a reimbursable, that it's a reimbursable payment, that we not let that build up.
Yes.
Where all of a sudden we've got, a $500,000 payment that we have to put out and wait on. So I know, Mr. Taylor, this is not your first rodeo. And it does give us, some comfort knowing that. But that is a concern because, as you know, we are very limited with our funds.
I'm sorry, Mayor.
No, go ahead, I'm done. I'm just,
I was gonna say, as a reminder, remember one of the first orders of business for Mr. Martin and myself is the timetable for the services, okay? Once we identify the timetable for the services, I can probably give you a cost projection on what fees might be due when. That could help the finance director plan, as to what needs to be done.
And Mayor, I have, I guess, some comments just to share with the commission, that I think are important when we get to whatever spot that is after people have asked their questions.
does anybody have any other questions at this time? Commissioner Burton?
No.
Okay. Commissioner Moore? Commissioner Lori? Commissioner DeVito?
Okay, thank you so much, Mayor. The finances have been reviewed. That was one of my questions. In the briefing sheet that the city manager gave us, I have a couple of concerns. We had a workshop, I believe last fall, was it last summer or last fall? But a lot of time has gone by. And that was about site selection. And it was my request at that time that we have, as much as possible, put in writing about the scope of this project and what the timetable that the state requires. I don't see that. In the briefing sheet, it says, it refers to, the requirements of the state. This would have been a good time to lay out what they are. I remember we said we have to have ownership of the property by the end of this fiscal year, calendar year, correct?
Correct.
And there's a reference in the briefing sheet to other state requirements. I'm sure, if you took all the state requirements, there would probably be several dates that would be very important, including the final completion date, correct?
Correct.
Where we have to spend the money. It would be very helpful to see those. as a commission, I think we need to see them. I think staff needs to see them. I think, our architect needs to see them. They need to be on a readily available piece of paper. I am very concerned that, in the city manager's report, there's still concern about, the fire chief has certain, wishes. They tend to go over budget. I just, I see several places, both in the city manager's report and this document, that says, the city manager is adamant that we won't go over budget. I just, somehow, I'm not entirely sure that there's really a plan for that. And the thing that concerns me the most is that, there was a meeting with, I guess these were several officials from the county fire department. It says Chief Peacock, Captain Nunziato, Captain Pope, and Captain Dendek.
That's ours. Those are
our people.
Those are our people.
Okay.
That was good, last week.
I don't know them by that, right, so that was April 2nd. So these are not county people, these are our people. We have 3 captains.
We do, 58 captains.
I have no idea. Wait a minute, who's Chief Peacock?
He's our assistant chief, the assistant chief, John Peacock.
Okay, well, that's nice, okay, Chief. All right, so there's a wish list, or not a wish list, there's a general listing of what we're going to have. That, to me, commissioners, mayor, that really should be something that we should see before we get the contract. This has been a bit of a moving target ever since we got the appropriation, because the appropriation, as the mayor said, was just for the general project. We never said exactly what it was. And
Yes, we did. It's a fire station.
right, but it started out, yeah, I know it's a fire station.
It was a
but-
phase, it was a phased-in fire station. The first phase was for the ambulance because they only gave us the $1 million, so it's for the ambulance and for the living quarters.
Right.
And then when they came in with the additional $2 million, then it was that we could build out the second phase, and in going to the state said, you can combine all of those into one phase at this point.
Right.
And they kind of started some of the time clock over again from that first one to help us with that.
Right, what I'm saying is there's now the specifics of what we are approving have not been presented until a meeting of April 3rd.
So as we
Okay, my,
pull this in, what are we?
my main concern is that, this is a hope that we can come in under budget. At some point, I guess the city staff and the fire department are gonna tell us what they're gonna include, what they're not going to include. We've, as a city commission, we've never really, joined in that discussion or set priorities. The community and the commission have never really had an opportunity to weigh in on these different priorities. And that's important. The main thing is the cost, and I am very worried about this $100,000 buffer for the police department.
Yes,
Sorry, trying to allude.
Go ahead.
Okay, so that's a lot to go through, but to simply answer to you on your question on our plan, in our discussions, I had asked Mr. Taylor to include a cost professional. The reason I wanted a cost professional, especially at the 30% review time, was at that time, we would be able to get a good, concise, roundabout cost with contingency to see how we could tighten the number as we move forward into the 90-set plan. That's number one. So we are gonna have cost controls in place. We're gonna have a professional estimator looking at the numbers as we get into that design. At the end, you had a comment there about the community being involved, which we're always about our community being involved. The subject matter experts being the fire department and the staff of the fire department, the chief and the assistant chief, all had a say in how the design of that station needed to be to bring the best service to the community. I know the community will have a say in certain things, but when it comes to that special subject matter expertise, they're not gonna have the say in that.
I have a question. I get that part. I'm just saying it's been a moving target.
Okay.
And then one,
Continuing to.
Let me have.
one more item, I'm sorry, just because she brought it up.
Wants to speak when you're done.
Okay, I apologize, thank you, Mayor. One more thing is the owner's anticipated design and construction milestone, you brought up the dates. Those dates have been shared with Mr. Taylor. We know what the dates are with the state. It's clearly in an email, and that email's been routed to the commission at one time or another, and if not, if you didn't get it or seen it, I will send it over to you. And I'll send it to the commission again. Those dates are going to be in line with our design phase milestone, our construction commencement, our substantial completion dates for completion, and any other milestone dates that need to be met. We are anticipating having fully completed design plans by the end of this year. Our anticipated date for going for procurement hopefully will be in this calendar year. That's our goal, because as we go into 27, costs are gonna increase. We know that we can get locked in now at better rates regardless. So that is the intention. I'd be glad to put together a briefing for you all and send it over to you all as we move forward in the process.
Thank you. Commissioner Burke.
The whole grant was for $3 million, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just kind of reading through this, this is a lot to read through, by the way, I've only seen it today. And, but it says a portion of this grant will be allocated to architectural and engineering fees, landscaping, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then it goes on to say that, for all construction number is unknown, the approximate cost of the work is estimated to be $2.6 million. Is that to actually build the actual building?
That will be for all construction, including site work.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we're spending most of the money to construct it.
Mhm.
Because right now, I'm feeling like we're spending a whole lot of money to design it.
We're
Well, it does cost, I mean, it's.
I know, but I just,
There's-
I gotta get my mind wrapped around it.
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
2.6. And yes, sir, Mr. Taylor.
If I may, to Mr. Martin's comments relative to the summary of the work. We circulated this about 6 weeks through city staff and through fire department and other interested individuals. And believe me, I was encouraged to make decisions and go quick. And the meeting that we had on the 2nd of April was one I requested to finalize that scope of work. To me, the summary of the work is an essential part of your program. It may be kind of an aspirational list at this point, but it's the target. It's like a map. You might have a dozen different ways to get from here to there. But if you don't try to figure out what the most expedient way is, you'll be spending your time in the back list. So this is one of the first steps. The other is the site, okay? We have to know where it's gonna go, because there's a lot of analysis, surveying, geotechnical, subterranean exploration. All these things must be done, so our engineers will be able to design based on that available knowledge. And then lastly, the limitations of the site. I mean, this little footprint is about 2.5 acres. The waste treatment facility is about 5 acres. I hope it's all because I'm looking, to be honest with you, to move the station such that its primary access will be off of Junction Road. That site at that point is over 300 feet. It's about 350 feet wide. This right here is only like 200 feet wide. We should have ample room to create a facility like this with this kind of parking, with ample space for a helicopter, a helipad, whatever. That's my also sharing an aspirational design. I think we can do it. It's perfect.
Okay, so tonight, we're here to vote to get you started, is that it?
Yes.
To get him started, he needs contract, he needs a contract with us. And I will say this, Mr. Taylor, thank you. You have been patient for these last, 2 years almost? 2 years, and he's been very patient, and he does try really hard to move staff forward. And I don't know
I'm not.
if any of you have ever built a
He
home.
does his job, we do our job.
Yeah.
But I just wanna make sure,
Yeah.
I want to get it started. Okay, right now, I just feel like for the last few years, we've just been running, and, you know, like hamsters.
Well, we haven't because we thought we were gonna do it there. And so this changed everything, but,
Hamsters.
and I will say, Commissioner DeVito, I don't know if any of you've ever built a home, but when you sit down with your architect, you put everything in that house that you think you want.
Yes.
And then you have a cost estimator that comes in, and then they tell you how much that is. And all of a sudden, you've cut out bathrooms and you've cut out, and it does reduce. And I know last week you reduced it, I think with what you took off last week, it was about $300,000 that reduced that. So, but you have to start somewhere. And I think that's where we are, is we have to start somewhere. Because if we keep doing this and questioning them, we're never gonna get anywhere.
We need to start.
And the state will take that away from us, and this is a great opportunity for the city, but I know we have to start somewhere, and we just, we trust you, we trust, Mr. Martin, and we'll be watching it very closely, just to make sure that as we go forward, not a penny over $3 million. So with that, can I entertain a motion?
I'll bring my wallet.
I move that we approve the AIA contract with Robert Taylor.
I'll second it.
Okay, so we have a proper motion by Commissioner Lori, we have a second by Commissioner Burton. Commissioners, do we have any further discussion on this? No. If not, I'm gonna open it up for public comment. At this time, do we have any of the public that would like to speak to this? Does anybody have any comments? Okay. Seeing that, I'm gonna close public comment. So with that, at this time, Ms. Taylor, if you would do a roll call for us, please.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Burton?
Aye.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner DeVito?
Aye.
Mayor Myers?
Aye. Okay, so approved. Thank you, Mr. Taylor. We look forward to.
Thank you very much.
Shovel tomorrow.
He can't do anything that he tells him he can.
Yeah, I know, I'm thinking.
Groundbreaking.
Thank you all very much.
Thank
I look
you.
forward to working with you until we get this guy done.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Ms. Martin.
Thank you.
Sir. You're welcome. See you, Bob. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Darren.
Yes, ma'am, thank you so much. The next on our item is Harry Banks, a community food forest and garden design proposal. This is proposed by,
You wanted us to offer as a city manager to execute this contract, but that's not what my motion was. Do we need to reconsider that? Because my motion is to approve the contract.
Okay.
I really, we need to authorize the city manager to authorize it or done.
Do you want, I don't think you need to
Authorize the
redo the motion. Do you want to add an additional motion to that? Okay, so if you would, please. Thank you for bringing that to us.
You want me to move to authorize the city manager to work with the architect and the project board and initiate the next phase?
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a proper motion by Commissioner Lori, and we have a second by Commissioner Burton. Ms. Taylor, if you do roll call for us, please.
Commissioner DeVito?
Aye.
Commissioner Lori?
Aye.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Burton?
Aye.
Mayor Myers?
Aye. So approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, appreciate that. All right, so back to our next item, Harry Banks Park. We have a community food forest and garden design proposal by Chris Edler of Permaculture FX. I asked Chris to come tonight and to present to you all his plans, if you could come up, Chris. Of course, this is a comprehensive design proposal to transform Harry Banks Park into a community food forest and educational garden. Chris, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Madam Mayor and Commissioners. I'm blown away as someone that's new in town by the dedication that I see you exemplifying in meetings and offices. But I also want to say I was very impressed seeing so many of you at the community cleanup days, cleaning up the streets, active in the community gardens. I was volunteering once in the Eagle Lion Park, and Commissioner DeVito came over and was helping with wood chips. And to me, those are really good signs of a healthy community and leaders that are engaged, not just in the office, but also with the people in general. And so that is most of my reasoning for wanting to present this community garden and food forest idea to you, as someone who is new in town, I don't know the history of all of the areas and the different streets and the parks. I look at it from an outside perspective, and as an educator for 17 years, I worked a lot with kids, inner city kids and at-risk kids. And so one of the things that I have found is that the library and the garden are two of the safest places in the town. And I think we have a wonderful library thanks to so many volunteers that are here in our town, but I would love to see the growth of a garden. And when I was walking through Harry Banks Park for the first time, seeing both the community, the location of it in proximity to schools, education, housing developments, but also the safety of the fencing, the inner gardener and farmer in me wanted to just be a better neighbor. And so I started talking with Derek and some others and just starting to brainstorm what would it be like for us to have a place of community health and food access, of education, a demonstration site on how do you grow food, how do you provide for your families and for wildlife and better the world around us, leaving it, like Nordstrom would say, as good or better than we found it. And so in the plan that's before you, I believe it starts on page 70 of your revised agenda, and it is available for those that are watching this later online. It lays out a few, 4 specific reasons and purposes for this project. First, to provide access to locally grown food in an area that we do have a food desert. Secondly, to support hands-on learning, workshops, gardening, growing days, building long-term community engagement and connection with volunteers, community, and clubs. And then lastly, to enhance the environmental quality, especially knowing that our area is being developed, all of Florida is being developed at such a rapid pace, providing a place for native wildlife habitat, pond edges, and bettering our environment around us are all part of this plan. So if you slide through that plan, you can see all of the nerdy garden details that I won't necessarily bore you with, but my hope today is that you're able to kind of skim through this plan and this idea and envision with me a place that our community is able to connect, I think, in a way that is very safe. As an educator, I'm always thinking about safety, about kids, about lighting, insurance, and that sort of thing. And for those that are also thinking along those same lines, because of the location and the particular fencing layout of the park that I selected, this does fall under the agritourism activity under section 570.86 of the Florida statutes. So insurance and liability is not a question or concern because it would be considered agritourism as a form of education and community enhancement. So no one's going to be liable if anybody, gets a cut on a blade of grass, as they're weeding in the garden. But I do think the location of this is a very ideal place. I did look at several other parks, and just from the liability perspective, the fencing or the lack thereof in some of the parks were concerning to me. And also some of the other activities, and forgive me, I don't know the name of the park. I believe it's called Fletcher Park, where the boat launch was one of the other ones that I looked at, that because of the other activities that take place there, it would cause a few problems getting the agritourism exemption, which I do think is very important in that process.
That's a boating park. There's no room for a car.
Fletcher, I think he's thinking, are you thinking Fletcher,
Yes,
down
ma'am.
where the dog park is?
Fletcher Park?
You can put a kayak or something.
Yeah.
What is the process of getting that exemption?
It's super easy. There's literally like a one-page form that you fill on the Florida State statute website. It takes about 2 to 3 weeks to get it back, and I believe it costs $45.
That's the Florida Department of Agriculture is what you have to go through. They're the
Correct.
ones that do the agritourism.
Yeah, correct.
And there's signs that have to get up as well?
Yeah, there's one sign that you put at the beginning of the park, and that's up to the individuals to read. Anytime that a workshop would be done and people are signing in, that same exact language is provided for them. And so when they sign in, they have the opportunity to read that language.
Are you proposing any type of form that people would have to sign to waive any?
Anytime there's volunteers or agritourism that are coming into the park to volunteer, they would have to sign that type of a waiver if they're gonna be working with tools. If they're working with their hands, picking flowers or, picking fruit, that's entirely up to them. But anytime there are tools or work implements provided, they would have to sign a waiver or a legal adult or guardian.
Okay, commissioners, do we have, are you?
That was all. And my question today is asking for permission to proceed with phase one, which would include starting to mark out the utilities, getting the compost, wood chips, and that sort of thing delivered, and then proceeding with the planting as planned.
If I may, Mayor, so originally there was a cost involved in this, we had put that forward, if you go to my briefing sheet, it says or not. I've talked to Mr. Edler and he feels that he can go in on this without cost of the city of the taxpayer. Originally, we were talking about utilizing funds that were, I wouldn't say generated, but funds we received from fines for cutting trees, so we were wanting to put it back in the community and so plants and environment. With that being said though, there still is a little bit of costing that we would need for certain signage,
Right.
irrigation,
Lighting.
those numbers, I don't know what they would be, so I want to be very clear to the commission that even though he said he could take this on $0, there would be some sort of money spent here, so I had to find out how much.
Right, Mayor, if I could. Sure. So I have a couple of concerns about this. I think it's a great concept. I'm blown away by the drawings, and I think it would be a wonderful activity for children. And it's definitely in the right spot for an activity for children. What I don't think is fully formed is a clear understanding of the obligations and responsibilities and the phasing between Chris and the city. There's access to the park. So just, I mean, this is a proposal about a design. It's not really a proposal about specific responsibilities and implementation. He mentioned, I see in here, there's, what is it called? The planter boxes for food. Chris, what do you call those?
The raised garden beds.
Right, raised garden beds, thank you, sorry. I'm still thinking fire station. So I know usually when cities have community gardens, if this is gonna happen, they have policies and procedures and they have, they have policies and procedures. I know Pomona Park had a whole community garden and, which by the way, unfortunately now has completely disappeared. It's out of business. And I think it was started for 1 year, but they had rules about access, cost, responsibility, all that kind of stuff. So this is a proposal, but it's not really the nuts and bolts of how it all would work. I'm not even sure whether the agritourism exemption or liability thing applies to governments. I don't know. We already have a certain amount of sovereign immunity. So I don't know about that. And then I did notice, okay, we still have not funded, when you're talking about irrigation, we approved the tree and garden plan by the tree and garden board, and I know that you brought this forward, but they have mentioned that none of the money in the city budget has been spent for the specific plantings in our public areas that the Tree and Garden Board requested. So I'm just thinking, this is a great proposal, but I don't think we have the procedures in place. I'm not really sure. There are some references to volunteer groups. Have you been in touch with the Women's Civic Association, for example, or Concerned Citizen?
Not those two in particular, but I do have about 8 or 10 other groups that have given a soft yes. I didn't want to overstep my bounds and ask for permission in an area without your permission and blessing first. But I do have a list of about 50 volunteers that are ready to jump in.
50 or 15?
50, 50, ma'am.
Okay,
Are
and
they
then,
all from Crescent City?
Some are, I would say about 70% of them are from Crescent cities. Most of them are Putnam County in general. So I teach a gardening class every month here in Putnam County, one in Flagler and then one in Ormond Beach. And so there's about,
That's kind of far away. You know, you're putting this thing in Crescent City.
yes,
The other thing, this looks like it's along the water's edge, that retaining pond.
yes, ma'am.
Is that where you're putting this?
Yes, ma'am. And the reasoning behind the location of that would be because it's behind the fence, so that fence can be locked. And it's a very tall and sturdy fence, so that way there's not gonna be day-to-day public access.
It's sturdy until people start to take the fence down, which happens quite often. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, that kind of concerns me a little bit, being next to that retention pond. But anyway, if anybody else has any questions.
That retention pond, also has been known to have creatures. We've had
Yes.
alligators, we've had children out there playing in the fields, and the alligators have gotten, it has snakes.
Right.
It's also, have you done soil testing? Because you know that whole area is the old landfill.
Yes, yeah, and many of the plants, I do a lot of bioremediation with both cities, parks, you know, large scale projects. And so many of the things that we're putting in the plants are water purifying plants. I use a company called SCD Probiotics. They use a lot of research out of Japan and Kansas City, Missouri. And so we would be helping implement those things into the water to help purify the water in a 100% organic, way to help remediate some of the damage that has already been done.
but Mayor, I think you have a good point. We're talking about people walking in there and touching it and getting in the dirt. And it sounds like the point you're raising, whatever it is you're gonna plant, that might help in the future. But are we inviting members of the public, including children, in what might be severely contaminated soil?
Well, and there's metal, I know they've pulled a lot of scrap metal out of that soil over there, and so, for somebody to get cut, I mean, it's behind quite honestly, in that pond, I have some concerns. This is extremely well laid out.
Thank you.
Thank you for wanting to do something like this in Crescent City. I have a lot of reservations about where you're looking to put that. That pond is, we have a fence around it for a reason,
Yes,
pretty
ma'am.
much from a safety standpoint. That pond also, it's my understanding, now, of course, there's a lot of
There's a lot of stories.
stories
Yes.
about it, but that it is a pretty deep, it's
Yes.
a pretty deep pond.
It's a sinkhole.
It's a sinkhole, and that that there's a lot of things down there. So my concern is if you do open it up and you have children in there, and who's going to be watching those children the entire time to make sure that nobody decides, oh, let's jump in and go swimming, because you definitely don't want someone swimming in there.
Absolutely.
Also, from getting to be able to get into that, how are you going to access? Because a lot of times, and especially with a lot of our master gardeners in the community,
Right.
they're elderly, a
Yes,
little
ma'am.
older, and that's a pretty good trek to have to go over and walk there. And so have you thought
Yes.
about that?
And I'll address the pond issue first, because that is definitely a concern of mine as well. Because as a teacher, I am always concerned about kids and safety and supervision. So as far as the layout goes, the actual garden is only gonna be within about 10 or 15 feet of the fence itself. So no one's gonna be going down that slope, playing in the pond. The plants that I had suggested around the pond edge are basically to densely plant the pond edge, so that way it prohibits the accessibility of people going down to that level. So it's not an area that people will be, going down in. We would be only up along the fence line. As far as the accessibility for volunteers, on the far right side, when you're looking at the retention pond, there's a double gate that opens up, as well as on the other side. So cars can actually pull up along the side of that and walk directly into that garden. My hope is that in the raised bed area that we would do landscape fabric, lay that out nice and flat, so the raised beds are ADA accessible as well. Because especially with volunteers that are elderly, if they're in a wheelchair, a lot of their kids that are autistic will not sit on the ground. That's just not part of their makeup, and so they do wanna, be able to stand. And so we'll be doing the initial installation ourselves without necessarily the volunteers' help, so there's not a risk of them cutting their finger on a piece of metal that's gonna be in the soil. So by the time the volunteers are showing up in the community, especially children or minors, all of this will be in the ground to where they're more picking the fruit, they're helping weed, they're planting a few flowers. So we'll be able to take that liability ourselves to make sure that things are safe before children are present.
The other concern I have is that, and I know back several years ago, for my time, Patrick Kennedy, for the community, they put in a garden right behind over here at Miller Middle School. And they had a community garden back behind the health building. Barbara Fisher, I think, was part of that. We had quite a few master gardeners here in town, who wanted that. And it's my understanding that that lasted really, everybody was excited about it, but it lasted about a month. And I know there was one behind the women's club also that the women's club was doing. And if you go by there, I don't know that garden.
It's totally gone.
Yeah, it's totally gone. So my concern is you're going to be planting, it looks like you're planting bamboo there. You're planting banana plants. And from a public works standpoint, our people have to maintain that. And so especially with the bamboo, so if you put bamboo, we all know what bamboo does. So if you put the bamboo in there, and then all of a sudden your eagerness from your volunteers, or somebody goes in there, because I'm sorry, it happens over there a lot. Somebody goes in there and they decide that they're going to mess it up.
Yes, ma'am.
And that can be very discouraging to volunteers. Where is that gonna leave our public works and what we're gonna have to do to clean that up? And so these are a lot of the concerns we have with this. It's, again, great,
It's a great idea.
great
Yeah.
plan, and,
Great plan.
May I respond to your concerns?
sure, absolutely.
So in regards to the maintenance, I know our city is so taxed on public works. They have so much to mow and so much to do. The last thing that I want to do is add anything to anybody's plate. So the goal in this type of design, it's a design style called permaculture, permanent agriculture. And I'll use the example of a gentleman named Jeff Lawton. He had a farm called Zaytuna Farm in Australia. And the farm was very well manicured for a long, long time. They ended up selling the farm, had to walk away for almost 20 years. And this style of agriculture, you're able to step back in at a moment's notice and still have productivity. And so if there's community engagement, the wood chips are gonna be nice. There's no weeds, the flowers are fresh, the flowers are cut back. That's the best case scenario, is you walk in and it looks like the Bach Garden, botanical gardens or Bach Tower gardens, which I've had a wonderful time helping with. And so that's the best case scenario. The worst case scenario is if we get all of this in the ground and we put in these fruit trees and these berry bushes and I get whisked away to the magical land of Oz. The good thing is these trees are going to be producing in 30 years with or without me. And so the wood chips may not look as nice. It'll look like another tree that's planted in the park. The flowers may need to be, deadheaded, but by and large, the linear design along the fence, madam, is so that all the city public works has to do is run their mower just like they always do. This is gonna prevent them from having a weed whack, which is always nice. So I think even in our worst case scenario, if there's severe total utter neglect and we use the stun method of gardening, it's still going to be beautiful and those fruit trees are still going to be producing, even if I'm not present. But I do feel very confident that in the way of connecting with the different clubs, the different organizations, it's not contingent on me, because there will be 15 or 20 other groups or organizations that when one is saying, hey, we can't do this anymore, that's okay. We'll go find another club or organization to fill that niche so it doesn't weigh down too heavily on one person's shoulders. The way that we did the community garden that I designed in Kansas City, Missouri, is we had a very similar setup. And so every club only came in for 2 hours one time a year. And so it was a very low level commitment for them. Sometimes they had 3 to 5 people that came in, and when a club was finished or they were too busy, that gave us 11 other months to fill that void. And so I do feel that the way that we structure this is very important, that it provides the longevity, but in the worst case scenario, it's better than them having to weed whack our fences.
Thank you.
I just have one question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there a way that, you say that you've done some of these gardens?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and I don't wanna make anybody have to go to see it, but I'd love to, tell me where one is so I can just go take a look at one. And see if they actually work and what they do.
Yeah, I mean, I can give you addresses or send you a packet of pictures and that sort of thing.
I wish you would.
Yeah, I can
They're still,
absolutely do that.
they're still ongoing, those
Oh, yes,
gardens.
ma'am, yes, ma'am, and I have a lot of my online presence, it features a lot of the videos and the pictures of that work, so you can go to Permaculture FX, on Instagram or TikTok, and so TikTok, there's almost 100,000 people that are watching and following these designs on a daily basis, so it does have
I
large.
watch a lot of those, I think a lot of it's pretty neat, but
Yeah.
that's why I wanna see if there's something around here that actually has worked.
Yes, sir. Yeah, there's many in Ocala. The Royal Grounds Equestrian Farm is one that you can look at.
You know, you're talking about an equestrian farm, hey, I was a farmer up in Vermont,
Yes.
equestrian farm, and I always had a big garden.
Yeah.
Okay, but down here's a little different.
Yes, sir.
So, Mr. Holmes, if you would please weigh in on this.
Couple of things. First, from a practical perspective, as a landowner who just lost more than half of my orange trees in the last little episode of cold that we had, I don't believe there is anything as a perpetual garden that just takes care of itself. Now, again, I don't have the green thumb this gentleman has, but at one point, Crescent City area was full of orange trees. But they're all gone. Vast majority of them are gone because of freezes and
And you'll
whatnot.
notice there are no citrus in that design for that very reason.
And let it finish, please, go ahead.
And secondly, just a practical observation that I've seen, the idea of gardening sounds great when it's 60 degrees outside and everybody can get out there with their hat and piddle in the dirt. When it's 110, you see the enthusiasm drop significantly, and that's where we are in Florida. But from a I guess a legal perspective, here are my concerns. You're dealing with public property,
That's another problem.
which is, from my perspective, always a consideration that I think has to be kept in mind. I'm not saying you can't lease public property or in some other fashion delegate its control to someone else, but the terms of that need to be specified. Is it gonna be a lease? Because as you know, when you provide control of this piece of property or any other piece of property to an individual or an organization, you're doing that to the exclusion of everybody else in Crescent City. Now, I understand there may be nobody else interested, but I don't know that. All I know is that it's owned by the taxpayers, and when you say that this individual or that individual or that group is gonna have control over it, then it's no longer available to the public. And then it's important that we know what the rules that apply to this property were gonna be, and it's open to everybody, but, well, obviously I take that as a given, but maybe that's not a given. But my point simply is the devil's always in the details when you're talking about taking public property and giving it to someone else to control. And I always, and that's true, you can shake your head, BJ, but it's a fact. Because just as sure as you do this, and the next meeting someone comes in and says, if I'd known you were gonna give it to him to do a garden, I would have used it for watermelon or whatever. So what I've told folks for decades in governmental entities is, if you're going to set aside some property and say you're gonna make it available for use, it only makes sense to put it out there in some form of notice so that if more than one person has a proposal for using it, they can put it in the hopper. And if you don't get anybody, then at least you put it out there. You gave people the opportunity to do this or something different with it. But secondly, there needs to be some certainty to the whole process. For what term is this gentleman or someone else gonna have control over the property? Year, 5 year, 10 years? How long? Secondly, is there going to be a responsibility that it be returned to you in the same condition it was in when you gave it to him? Now, from what I'm hearing, that condition may not be stellar right now, but you got my point. If they do things to it, they create issues. Are they going to be your issues when the time period of their control is over? And then I understand, I read the statute about agritourism, and that's cool. I am a believer that the Morgans of the world find a way to get around those kinds of things to sue municipalities. So I would suggest that anything you do have some form of insurance requirement in it to protect the city in case somebody, when you read these things, it states that if they're engaged in a risk, if they are injured as a result of a risk that's associated with agritourism, then there's some exceptions, or there's some liability exemptions, but it also has some exceptions to that rule. And so you do have sovereign immunity that limits the amount of money that the judgment that could be rendered against you, or the amount you have to pay. But it also, that sovereign immunity statute says that cap is the extent to which you have insurance or the thresholds that are in the statute. Insurance claims don't help you in terms of your premiums for the next year. So all I'm saying is I'm not against it either. I mean, I think
it's a great plan.
Things of this nature, if it's something positive for people to do and they really are interested in doing it, it's fantastic. And if he's going to take the risk of making that happen, his time, effort, and all that good stuff, then more power to him. But I just think you need to have there needs to be some details that guide the way the property is, the control of the property is transferred to him or anybody else. And I don't know that you have those right now, at least I'm not hearing them. Now, you can do what you want to, but, obviously.
So I read through that statute, and there was what I did not see in there, and I would ask you, Dawn, for that, is that DAX did not, that I could see that they didn't necessarily say that agritourism in an urban area, if it had to be zoned agricultural. And so that was just something that, as I read through it, I don't know that DAX, that's just the part about the liability.
Yeah,
And they're calling it agritourism, and it's a program that they are encouraging, but I don't know, and I think we would have to have that also, just to make sure that that does apply.
Yeah, I looked up the definition in the statute in addition, and, it's pretty broad. It has to be a bona fide activity, and, not done for, sport or whatever, but it's pretty broad. I didn't see anything in it that dealt with the underlying zoning of the property.
Okay.
I did not. I'll look at it more, but I think that's a help for sure. I'm concerned that, and there's a certain amount of risk in anything a city does. We all know that. You do things, if you're gonna provide for the citizens, there's risk involved in some of what you do. So I'm not naive enough to think that you're gonna engage in anything that has zero risk. I'm more concerned about you managing the risk and knowing what your risks are, and also the part about the details as to control. That's a big deal. You have other property in the stand that you own. I mean, if you don't have some kind of policy process for deciding who gets to control it other than you, then you kind of leave a lot of doors open.
Yeah, that's true. No, I'm not sure how we get from here to there, but the things that worry me are, obviously what Dawn has brought up, the policies and procedures, making sure there's control, making sure that it does not occupy too much of our staff time, because as we know, we have some significant projects right now, the fire station being one of them. We still don't have a city clerk, but the policies and procedures, getting a better idea of how many volunteers would really be available, and are there some private sources or possibly some groups that could help contribute to the cost. I mean, I think this needs more definition.
And I agree, because I don't know that right now I don't feel that we have the ability to put any money at this point. We could probably even ask our finance director that, and we're hearing that next year we're gonna be flat also. So, from a spending standpoint, and Mr. Edler, I will say this. I might be a skeptic about this as far as your volunteers, because I've been out there planting at different times. Had people drive by, give us advice.
Yeah.
But never really have I had people, exactly. And so it might just be you out there, but they'll go by and they'll give me advice about what we're planning or how we're doing it. And granted, they are, it's, a lot of people, they're having to work in their own yard and take care of their own yard. So I'm very concerned that while people are committed to you for volunteers, I know even our organization over here is struggling to get volunteers. And so I don't know that it might just end up being you and a couple of other people.
I'm okay with that.
Okay. So I just wanted you to know that.
Yes, ma'am. I
That
appreciate
sometimes that people get caught up, we're busy and they think they want to do it, but actually getting out there and like you said, like Dawn said, right now, it's nice to get out there when it's 100, 110, not many people,
That's so nice.
especially there at the water's edge,
Right.
because you have mosquitoes and you have a lot of other things there. So that's just
Thank you.
my 2 cents. So commissioners, yes.
I would like to look into, and of course, y'all are gonna take a vote on this tonight, but if we're looking at this, from a policy standpoint, insurance plans, all the things that we don't know, I do wanna say that Neptune Beach in Jacksonville, Jarbo Park, you asked to go see one. It's been active now for 18 years. It started back, in the mid 2008 or something like that. It's been very successful. The community's involved. They have lease agreements with the groups and the clubs that come and run it. I'd like to approach them and just get information on how they've done that, and I can bring that back to you all at another time.
Actually, I think we need some more information and I'd like to kind of see.
So commissioners, what is your recommendation at this point? Do you want to, yes, Commissioner DeVito?
Well, my recommendation would be that this entire project needs more definition, keeping in mind that, to me, you would want to have some committed groups that really want to take this on as a project.
Yes.
That would help find funding, and any policies and procedures that you can find, having to do with community gardens or whatnot, because I know other municipalities have them, but, I just think it's great. And Mr. Edler and the city manager, primarily Mr. Edler, need to come back with more definition, and to address those concerns about policies and procedures, funding, and the certainty of, a group or groups to actually own this. Does that make sense?
Yes. Do you want to do a motion? Do you want to, you don't want a motion?
I'm just saying that's,
The
I think,
consensus is from the commission that we need additional information. Is that what you're asking? Is that what
that's
we're
what
all
I'm
saying?
saying. I mean, do y'all think we need a
That's not
motion?
consensus, but,
That's, okay, so then
I think
if
we-
that's not yours, then we're gonna need a motion. Then we'll need a motion, so we have to have it on record.
You want me to make a motion?
Make a motion.
Okay, well, just saying that, I move that we thank Mr. Edler for the presentation, but that, he is free to come back to us at a later time with more definition as to policies and procedures, possible groups that would, be involved and take ownership, examples, of how other places do this, and, potential sources of funding.
Do you want to add in there anything about our attorney, making sure that our attorney reviews, because I believe they would have to have a waiver or something, sign something, so
Sure, and
consulting.
that before it comes back to us, it will be reviewed by our city attorney.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, so we have a proper motion by Commissioner DeVito. We have a second by Commissioner Burton. Do we have any public comment on this? Anybody would like to speak to this? Any thoughts? Okay, if not, I'll close public comment at this time. Ms. Taylor, if you would please do a roll call.
Commissioner DeVito,
Aye.
Commissioner Lori,
nay.
Commissioner Moore,
Aye.
Commissioner Burton,
Aye.
Mayor Myers.
Aye. Okay, thank you. Yes, we're going to, we're going to. Again, Mr. Edler, thank you, and thank you for your willingness. He just, for anybody that, he just, with Derek and some others, they planted, out here, they redid all these, pots for us for catfish, and also the hanging planters. So thank you so much for helping with that, we appreciate that. So, thank you, and with that, I'm gonna take a 7-minute recess.
Thank you, Mayor. All right, our next line item is our tree trimming and hazard mitigation services, Lynn Walker LLC. A little background, the city's been working with certified arborist James Succo with Lynn Walker LLC to assess tree conditions within the city limits. Mr. Succo has completed a full catalog of the existing trees and has identified those requiring trimming, removal, or mitigation due to safety concerns. This assessment follows ongoing issues with hazardous limbs, as discussed in previous meetings, storm-related vulnerabilities as we have hurricane season coming up, and deferred maintenance in several areas as Public Works has not been able to keep up with the demand. I currently have a quote from Mr. Lynn Walker, the company from Lynn Walker LLC for $12,000 for full trimming, removal, and haul off of the debris. He has also said he could reduce that by 50%. Actually, I'm down to $8,000. I've got the quote here. $8,000 if Public Works would pick up the debris and haul off the material. He would cut everything. I'm asking the commission to authorize negotiation to enter into contract agreement with Lynn Walker LLC for citywide tree trim and removal of identified safety hazards.
So just to be clear, that's reducing it to 8,000 or reducing it by 8,000?
It would reduce it to 8,000, sir.
So
I'm
then
sorry.
it's not 50%?
It's not 50%, no. I didn't have the final quote by the time that we had this meeting. I just had it here.
Okay, so some of it's 8,000 for the trim with city hall.
Yes, correct. That is correct.
And where would we haul this to? Would it go out into our facility out there to be? Is that where you? Okay.
Yes. And we talked about mulching it down, a couple different things that we can do, but yes, it would be hauled off there.
Okay,
I move that we authorize the city manager to negotiate the final price and scope with the Walker LLC for citywide tree trimming and hazard removal.
I'll second.
okay, we have a proper motion and a second. Any discussion? I guess you put this out for bid.
We made several phone calls to arborists in the area. This gentleman is from Palatka, it's from Putnam County. We received only one phone call back. That company was more of an advisor, large company out at Palm Coast, and the other we did not receive a phone call back.
But we didn't put it out for a formal bid.
It wasn't formally put out on the
Okay,
website.
so the price of this, Mr. Holmes,
So I had asked Derek if we had a purchasing policy or procurement policy, and he indicated that he wasn't aware of one. I looked at your ordinances and I couldn't find a purchasing procurement provision in your ordinances. The state statute sets a threshold of bid requirements at $35,000 under the statute, which I provided the city manager. So I was surprised that you don't have a purchasing policy or a procurement policy. Almost all small towns do, that basically indicate, most of them have a tiered approach. So up to a certain amount, 5,000 or whatever, there's no need for any kind of solicitations. 5 to 10 or 15 or whatever, 3 phone calls will do. 15 to 25 or whatever, you gotta have some form of written bid, and then at some point you go to a formal solicitation for bids with response times and all that stuff. He said you don't have one. So if you don't have one, then I can't tell you that you can't do it. I mean, I was surprised that you don't have a procurement policy, but if you don't, then like I said, the state statute says that your threshold's $35,000.
so we have a proper motion and a second.
Okay.
What's the name? I think it just went,
The
yeah,
recorder
I think it
just
just went off.
It
Yeah.
just went on.
You might want to check it. It's talking to us.
And just to be clear, I didn't specify whether we should be doing the haul off or not, but I think that that's the best option. But my motion was just to authorize you to move forward with that bid, or move forward with the contract. And I believe that that's the right direction to go to. That would be my.
It would be coordination with Public Works. I need to find their schedule. They are really spread thin right now. And honestly, I really want to get this done before hurricane season. That's the biggest push. But I will definitely do what's best for the city. If we can get that done, then I'll do it. We do have plenty of funds. We have funds in the streets line items that we have not used, almost 15,000 for some concrete work. We have 7,000 left in our tree trimming actual line items, so we can move things around. We have plenty in the budget to do that.
Ms. Taylor, if you would please do a roll call.
Commissioner Moore? Commissioner Burton?
Aye.
Commissioner DeVito?
Aye.
Commissioner Laurie?
Aye.
Mayor Myers?
Aye. Approved, thank you.
Thank you so much. Next on our line item, we have firework contribution and contract approval for the red, white, and doom. You have the quotes from Santori in front of you. I'm asking for the commission to allow me permission to move forward with that contract. Also have Mr. Scott King here to discuss a little bit from the yacht club standpoint. Come up, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Didn't plan on being here, but since I was here anyway, I thought I'd stay. We've got the cart before the horse just a little bit. The club has not seen these contracts. Our meeting's tomorrow. So basically, as you see, we've got either 11/5 to do June or 18 to do both. I can tell you that the club can already handle June. We've already got the money for that. We have not talked to Xfinity yet. And again, I haven't talked to the club. So tomorrow, we plan on deciding whether or not to take on both and have our December fireworks back or not. So I guess what I'm asking for now is for you to approve backing the fireworks like we did last year, allowing Mr. Martin and the club to come decide which way to go, whether to do both or just do June. And to ensure that all monies for the contract will be collected before we sign that contract. But if we have approval to move forward and make a decision tomorrow, we'd appreciate it.
Okay. Mayor, I have a question. Yes. Okay, so, my recollection is that, this has always been a project of the yacht club, but it's gotten more and more expensive, and that last year, the city was a sponsor, so that
No, ma'am.
wait a minute, our insurance would apply. And last year, I thought we agreed to do that, but we weren't the signers on the contract. It was once again the yacht club.
No,
We signed the
contract,
contract.
and you specifically were a stickler about it, that we did not sign the contract until all monies were received.
Okay, so this is the same contract that we signed last year.
Yes,
That says-
same company.
Same
Essentially same contract.
Because the thing that concerns me about that is that it's mainly the yacht club runs this, isn't that correct? Like the contract refers to the yacht club who provides barge.
Barge,
We
yeah.
provide the barge.
Which is,
And they raise most of the funds.
I mean, right, you raise the funds and you know what you're doing because you have the barge and you know where to put it and what to do with it. Certainly, I like the part that Mr. King said about we don't want to sign a contract until you have the funds ready. I would be much more comfortable if the yacht club signed the contract, because they're mainly the ones concerned. I mean, they know what they're doing. I think it's great for the city to sponsor it. But we don't have money in the budget to pay for this, particularly when it's good to hear you said you have the $11,000 for the June event, or it's 11/5, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Right, so you don't want to be the signers on the contract?
So if I may, last year, our Commodore, Mr. Jordan, came to the commission, came to the city, fell out there in the audience.
Yeah.
With the information that our yacht club insurance that we have, because we are a yacht club, we found out, doesn't cover fireworks, because that's not a yachting activity. So the agreement that we made with the city was, this is the city's event. The city's insurance would cover because it is your event, and we help sponsor it by raising the money and helping the fireworks company out by pulling the barge around, because we're a yacht club and we've got boats that can do that.
They are not the ones though, I don't know if you've ever been out there when they're doing it, but they're not the ones that are actually igniting those.
Oh, no, I know that, that's.
So I just want to make sure
No, no, no,
for
they're-
clarity purposes,
Yeah.
We're by the barge.
they really are the sponsor. They and Xfinity last year were the sponsors.
Right.
We were the hosts.
I mean, we're the host.
And right, I did want to mention that as well.
One person at a time.
So, and to finish, so there is zero expense to the city. You mentioned an expense that we could afford, there's zero. Public Works doesn't even get involved.
Okay.
We appreciate that. I think that's it's a great tradition that the Yacht Club has carried on for us, and I'm thankful that you guys are willing to do that. And I think that this is just our part of it, and I want to make a motion that we authorize the city manager to execute this contract once you've consulted with the yacht club and they make decisions with the understanding that they will be raising the money and we'll be we'll be putting it on and signing the contract.
Be the host.
We'll be the host, thank you, that's the word I was looking for.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, so we have a proper motion by Commissioner Lori and we have a second by Commissioner Moore. Do we have any further discussion by the commission?
Well, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Commissioner Burton.
He's got a comment, staff recommends that the city commission approve entering into a contract with Centauri for the 2026 red, white, and blue fireworks display. It says that this is what he would like us to do, okay, our city manager. Authorize the city manager to execute the contract and associated documentation. Acknowledge that the yacht club will fully fund the fireworks display through fundraising, and confirm that the city's insurance will serve as the event insurance for the fireworks show. Okay, now what was the motion?
To authorize him to execute the contract
Yeah,
after consulting with the yacht club to make sure that they get approval tomorrow.
okay.
And then the funds
And
are
then-
in place.
and
That the funds are in place and that they're willing, because Mr. King said he's the Commodore.
Provide insurance.
He has not checked and gotten approval from the club that he's going to do that tomorrow. So I just want to make sure we're not signing this and then stuck with, a bill.
I just wanna-
You guys have
Didn't sound good.
continued to, promise to pay, so.
And we'll have a promissory note on that.
And that was the agreement from last year too, and I think that in an effort, we have a proper motion in a second, but I also think, and Mr. Martin, if you could, last year Xfinity did help out the yacht club with the expense so that all of their funds are not going. This is a huge benefit for the community. Always our fireworks, you do a fabulous job, Centauri does also. People talk about our fireworks no matter where you go. If you could have, between you and Ms. Bonnie, if y'all can work on possibly reaching out to Xfinity to see if they could help with that.
We've started that process. Her predecessor did a great job on organizing that.
Christina took care of all of
Yes.
that last year.
Yes, she did. So
She did
we
an
have all the
outstanding job.
information needed.
They just take time.
It just takes time. Do we
Yes.
have, at this time, do we have any public comment on this? Okay. Seeing no one come forward, I'm gonna close public comment. Ms. Taylor, if you would please do, a roll call. We have a proper motion.
Would you say the motion again, please?
Is
What's the state?
to authorize the city manager to execute the contract with Centauri after conferring with the Commodore from the yacht club and confirming that they are sponsoring and willing to pay for the event.
And if I could just say, what I asked last year is that we had the funds in hand before we signed the contract, because when we read the contract, it
It says
says,
that have to do it signing.
right, so, but when we sign that contract, we are on the hook for the entire amount of funds.
So you have a motion at this point that it's not, did you want to amend yours at all to say that it has to be in hand?
I trust
Okay.
people that say that they're gonna do what they're gonna do.
Then we're gonna go forward with this. Ms. Taylor, if you would please do a roll
It is
call.
about trust.
Commissioner DeVito,
Aye.
Commissioner Lori,
Aye.
Commissioner Moore,
Aye.
Commissioner Burton,
Aye.
Mayor Myers.
Aye, thank you. So approved.
Thank you, Young.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you very much. We're glad to partner with you on this. Very pleased. Thank you. This one, it's my understanding that the next one is, you want to,
Yes, ma'am. So the next one, soda, boat race, alcohol alternative plan, we're gonna pass on that at this time unless someone wants to speak to that. This is the alcohol for the boat race. That's not.
Can we back up to red, white, and boom because the partnership has a request?
can you?
That's down.
No, we're not there yet.
Yeah, we're not there yet. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
You're good, you're good. So on the alcohol, that time-wise, it did not work out.
Okay.
We had an alternative plan, so we don't even need to discuss this. I'd like to move on to the next item, and that would be is that okay, Madam Chair? Okay, the next would be our South Putnam Crescent City Opportunity Zone discussion. I did not have a briefing sheet on this for you all. This was something that came up. We had a few meetings with a group of people from Palatka, that came in discussing the Opportunity Zone, and the mayor, if you'd like to take over, I'd appreciate it.
All of you are probably aware that Crescent City, when they designated the Opportunity Zone, that Crescent City is one of the 3 here in Putnam County, all of Crescent City. Opportunity Zone is really more of a tax, it offers a tax shelter for those that want to deposit their money into a project and be able to have it sit there for a certain amount of years, and then there is no tax implication after, I believe it's 10 years. So the chamber, thankfully, they are trying to find in my, I've got it here somewhere. The chamber has gone in and looked at these because now the federal government is going to extend these opportunity zones out. And they are looking at all of Putnam County and where they can make a recommendation. So they have been here to Crescent City, and they have selected Crescent City to be the one to step in as one of their nominations, when they have to submit. They have to submit this request that we be considered by the end of April. So that's why it's on this agenda. Unfortunately, they don't have the verbiage in hand. They thought they were going to want a resolution. Department of Commerce told them they didn't want a resolution. They wanted a letter of support from the community. So they don't have the verbiage. They're working on the verbiage. Probably would not have the verbiage until next week. For us, this is, in my opinion, opportunity zones. Unfortunately, nobody has really taken advantage of it. It's a very complex tax shelter. But should somebody come in here, and typically it's a 10 million plus project that someone would invest in, it could be very beneficial to the community. And so they've asked that while we don't have a resolution and they don't have the language, that we at least, when they get the language to us next week, if the commission would approve allowing myself to sign a letter of support for this. And of course, we can share the language with all of the commissioners at that time.
Because this is actually by census tract, so this is
Yes,
not
it's by
just the
census
city
tract.
limits. This
Right,
is
it's by census tract.
most of eastern Fruitland Peninsula,
So,
as well as everything going up
here it is.
to Clackamas. I believe this was first established in 2003 or 2004, sometime like that.
No, it was actually established under the last Trump administration, I believe, for us. This opportunity zone back in, I believe it was 2018.
Yeah.
I think it was like 2018, and it goes through 2028. So it's 2028, so it's a 10-year. And so that was, and they are trying to reestablish these.
And this also, with the Big Beautiful Bill Act, will extend it.
Exactly.
It won't be expiring.
Exactly, this, it will not be expiring now. I'm sure, did you provide
Yes.
Yes,
okay,
I did.
so you all
With the
have that,
mapping and
so you
everything.
all have that, so
Yes.
they knew. And it's really for rural areas.
Yeah.
They're looking at the rural areas. Thankfully, we do qualify for that. Palaca has two, and that's out where the old, furniture manufacturer used to be. So they have two opportunity zones out there. And so that's it.
I move that we authorize the mayor to sign a letter of support to the Chamber of Commerce and the Department of Commerce, or the Department of Commerce, requesting that we be added as a opportunity zone, or continue to be an opportunity zone.
So, we have just a question. Oh, I'm sorry, we're waiting.
I need a second, so we have a proper motion right now. Do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, so we have a proper motion and a second by Commissioner Moore. Yes, Commissioner DeVita.
So so you want approval before they have the verbiage, before they give us the letter? I mean, I would rather that the chamber had taken the time to educate us on this before the deadline. Because you're saying it's a census tract, so it's not just Crescent City.
No, but this Crescent City proper is the one that is actually the opportunity center within the boundaries of Crescent City, based on a census tract.
So,
That's how we are.
I
think
don't
it
know.
extends out.
So do they have someone in mind that they want to come invest here? You said they reviewed the area, they must have.
No, they
some
don't.
ideas.
They don't, but they want to make sure that we have an opportunity that to be nominated.
Right, because it says align investment with long-term community goals. To me, this is vague. The state legislature this year and prior years has reduced our ability as a community to enact any kind of zoning regulations. My concern is that we really don't know what we're asking for. We don't know.
We're asking to be continued
To be
as an opportunity zone.
continued, and hope that somebody would need this as a tax shelter and come in and invest in our community.
$10 million in Crescent City.
No, they said typically it's $10 million. And you know what? It could happen. Dream
Right.
big,
But
dream big, and at least we would have that in our toolbox.
And it doesn't obligate us to anything.
Currently, right now, we have almost $4 million being invested by 3 different people. So it's not too far-fetched that somebody could see this growth here and want to bring their business here. And this would help that out.
And it doesn't mean that they will, but at least we have this in our toolbox that should someone do this and they have this money. Typically, these are those with large amounts of money.
Well,
This is tax rebate.
right, I'm well aware of that, but what are some examples of some projects that have been opportunity zones?
Eligible business investments include, did you read that? And it tells you what type of businesses typically do these.
Right, so, for example, do we want industrial projects within our city limits? I mean, to me, this is just very vague. I'm sure they have something in mind. I've heard that they've been here and they've been scoping us out. I just think we really don't know what this is.
They're here, and when they were here, and I spoke to Sarah, who is now, she took Mark's place. And I did talk to her about that and the fact that if they have anybody, please, by all means, at this time, my understanding is they don't have anyone that is looking in our area, but they are always open to bring them here, and they're trying to educate themselves on what Crescent City area does offer. And so that's why I think they've been down here. I did this with Mark when Mark was, in that position, and we drove him around and showed him, we have so much land that was ag land that is currently not being used, that if anybody was looking to do something, the trust plan is a great example of what the trust plan has done down there. So they're just really trying to educate themselves. You've got some new staff there at the chamber, and they're trying to educate themselves on what South Putnam has to offer, and especially Crescent City.
Right, so my one comment is, when I did talk to the chamber president, I was very concerned that she wasn't as familiar with South Putnam or Crescent City as I would hope she would be. And I wish the chamber would be more concerned about business retention, such as full-service grocery store, than they are. They seem to be looking to bring in new projects but not help us keep what we have that's helpful to our community. I'm just saying that while we're on the subject of the chamber.
We're not talking about the chamber, we're talking about the opportunity zone.
But
Which the chamber is the one that's.
They're orchestrating,
But
orchestrating.
that's not what this is about.
Okay, you don't have to be mad at me about it. I'm taking the opportunity to say that I wish the chamber had more familiarity with our community, because by our discussion, it was clear that they did not. And I don't think they have familiarity with, what is it in here, opportunity zones, align investment with long-term community goals. I don't think they're familiar with that either. So that's just taking an opportunity to make a wish.
And I understand, and having spoken to them, I will say that Kimberly, who is with Tourist Development, she's over that part, she comes down here frequently. And she is really trying to engage, she tries to engage here in the area with the businesses. She held a meeting over at the Crescent for entrepreneurials, those that are trying to start a business, have a business. I went to that. I think it was an invitation to pretty much everybody. Sarah, like I said, she and Sam have been down here, and they're trying to learn the area. What I've been told numerous times is that they do, it's Dawn, correct me, it's first tier jobs. And when you talk about first tier jobs in the chamber, they're talking about more of your industrial, your large commercial, and then you have the second tier, which is like your grocery store, your McDonald's, those that serve those people that are in those first tier. That really has been their focus, and they've done a lot of that through their economic person in Palatka. They've done a lot of that in Palatka. So I think, we have to be players with them and partner with them and work with them too. So it's kind of a two-way street. So we have a proper motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, Ms. Taylor, if you would please do a roll call.
Commissioner Burton,
Aye.
Commissioner DeVito,
Aye.
Commissioner Lori,
Aye.
Commissioner Moore,
Aye.
Mayor Myers.
Aye. Okay, so approved. Thank you.
Mr. Burton.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. So next, we're gonna have, it's our topic on the CCDP, red, white, and boom permit request, including alcohol and road closure. Have the executive director of the downtown partnership here, Christina Marie, if you could please come up. Thank you.
Thank you, Jared.
Yes, ma'am.
As you guys know, the partnership has been presenting the Red, White, and Boom Street Market for the past several years. And we are asking for permission to do so again this year. The only thing we would like to change is extending the road closure. Generally we go Lake Street to Park Street. We'd like to extend it to Prospect with the hopes to extend the market with more vendors and continue to grow.
I think last year we had a lot of food trucks that are on both sides of Central. They got a little crowded.
Yes, we would like to stage the food trucks a little higher up on the road, so as to give Bell's Bistro and Three Bananas more of the flow down there, let them cover the food and keep the food trucks up between Prospect and Park. Secondly, they'd also like to request the waiver of the, or alcohol. We want to sell alcohol at the event, so we would like the waiver of the, open.
Container,
Yes.
open container,
Mhm.
and to be able to sell in the park. And didn't we do this a couple of years ago where we brought them all the way up and the food trucks were all right there? And that worked out.
It works out better, because there's not much in that area between Prospect and Park, so to stage the food trucks there where pedestrians could walk on both sides of the sidewalks, I think would be better, and, it wouldn't be so condensed in that area. It'll help with flow. If for some reason we don't need the space, I'll come back to you accordingly, but the goal is to fill up the block, both blocks and make it a party better than ever.
I think definitely need some more seating areas too. It seemed like there was nowhere to sit.
Yes, we'll work on
I move that we approve the CCDP, event permit for the Red, White, and Blue street party, street party, so something. And waive the open container restrictions for the event. And extend the road closures from Lake to Prospect. Is that good? What?
We'll waive that too.
We're waiving that too? And waiving the $100 fee for the event.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll have a second.
I'll second that.
So we,
Can I just have a question?
so we have a proper motion from Commissioner Lori, and we have a second by Commissioner Burton. And Commissioner Burton, you have a question?
Yeah, I just have a question. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Now the vendors and everything, that you're gonna be bringing in, is that directly for the, for you guys, for the,
Partnership?
yes, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm already sleepy.
Mhm.
For the partnership?
Yes. the
Because
vendors-
I know it was always kind of shared, wasn't it, with the yacht club had vendors and, yeah, is that still?
Yes, at one point in time it was, and then the yacht club turned, asked the partnership to take over, and at the time, that's what worked best for the organization. The yacht club, didn't want to do the street party or the vendors at that time, they wanted to focus on the fireworks. So the partnership jumped in to accommodate that and bring the street market to life, and that's what we're looking to continue to do.
All right, great. This might be, what, is it the third or fourth year? Fourth year?
I think the first one was 2022, so yes, this would be the fourth.
Fourth year. Fourth year that you've done that in partnership with them. You take care of that and they take care of the fireworks. Seems to be a good partnership.
And so we're all allowed to get right in the middle of the street and watch the fireworks?
Yes.
Right.
Alright.
Just, yeah,
Question. So hopefully you're gonna provide for access for the property owners, because there are several residents there. And there's one person who is not a resident, but he owns property, and I think he uses it, for the event. But,
Okay.
so they'll be notified and make sure that they have access.
Absolutely, I'll be in touch with everyone that the event will affect and make sure that they're accommodated. I'll make sure that the residents that are in the area have, access to their driveways, and that will not be an issue. I'll also, make sure that there are detour signs for the boat ramp and, 3 bananas.
that's
This way it's a clear flow
The
forward.
streets will still be open, it's just Central Avenue.
Mhm.
Central Avenue will be closed, but the cross streets are open.
Yes.
Just like we've always done.
But you have to, because people need to park and get down to.
Most of the people, most everybody parks here and they go down to there. They go down to, straight down Central Avenue, the boat ramp. Another question, and this might be something more for Mr. Jordan, Mr. King left. Last year, we've always had FPL kill the lights. Last year, we were running around because for some reason there was some miscommunication and they didn't kill the lights. But what we found, my understanding, is that having that light on down there is beneficial for the safety of everyone, and it did not impede in the fireworks. So who would be asking us to do that? Would that be, okay?
I'll work directly with our public works director, Keith, and he has the direct contact to FPL, to coordinate all that. We'll make sure it flows just as it did last year. And when we do our preliminary meetings closer to the event, we'll iron out those details.
I just know that was that
Yeah, we
they.
were trying to soon about longer.
No, and that's what several people from the yacht club even said, that it's
Afterwards.
concerned that they were, that said it didn't take away and actually provided safety because there's so many people down there.
And right afterwards, yeah.
And right afterwards, so, okay, I just wanted to make sure. So we have a proper motion and a second. Ms. Taylor, you do a roll call for us, please.
Commissioner DeVito,
Aye.
Commissioner Lori,
Aye.
Commissioner Moore,
Aye.
Commissioner Burton,
Aye.
Mayor Myers.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for, and the partnership, for your willingness to do this for the community.
You're welcome. Thank you for supporting the programs.
And thank you to the alcohol.
And thank you to the yacht club, of course. Okay,
I think that was the last on business. We'll move on to the city manager report.
now we're gonna do the minutes.
That's right. Okay, exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to our minutes. Okay, commissioners, I believe that Commissioner DeVito, and you should have gotten a copy of that. If not, I believe there's a copy here at your seat of some changes that she recommended. Do we have any comments on any of these?
Mayor, I have a question.
Yes.
We were asked to submit any corrections or additions to the minutes well before the packet went out with the agenda, and I did that. And I have some corrections and additions. Some of them I could resolve myself. But some of them I had questions
You had
about.
question marks with it.
Right, and apparently, I thought the clerk was going to look at those and answer any questions or make a determination. So I'm trying to find where I had a question, because I just found out, and for the March 18th minutes.
March 12th, right?
Right,
March
but just,
12th one's first.
okay, before I forget here. Anyway,
So if you go through these, I don't want to go through these line by line. We have what your recommendations are.
well, for example, one question I had is on page 3. It talked about Major, in the middle of the page, it says Major Essery reported that one death investigation had been closed by the arrest of Kyle Baumgartner. And I don't think that was a death.
It was not a death. There was not a death.
So
No. So,
one just take out death and put investigation.
yes.
Okay, and then actually on that same page, I believe in the very next paragraph, I believe it was my comment about commending the sheriff's office for the recent traffic stop. I think that was me and not
You brought it
Commissioner
up, but I
Yeah.
amended them afterwards, so. But it's fine, you can change that.
Well, I was just gonna say, I don't know.
And I don't know, it's not deputy changing, and it's not road, you're right, it's drugs. So
Right, so I changed those, but can we say
it's
Commissioner DeVito and Commissioner Lori commended PCSO? Would that work?
If that matters to both of you, yes.
Well, he said
It's not to me.
No, it doesn't. But
Anyway, I'm just trying to think, see if there's any place where I really was not sure.
The one on, you have several on page 5,
Okay.
which, those seem kind of, it's clear to me what was written is what's correct. I don't know what the rest of this was.
Okay, we'll take out the ones on page 5.
Somewhere, I'm not sure, it doesn't say where, when you returned. Yeah.
it does not, I arrived at right about 7 o'clock, just.
I don't know when we did that either.
I know.
I'm not sure where we were, I think we were at the moment, your entry signs.
I know that,
Because, and then it just says motion passed unanimously on that. But then on the next one, I think every one is, it has your voting, it says Matt Myers voting aye on the east side. So I believe you were there at the, city entrance place.
I was listening, so now, and I will be honest with you, it was kind of that was a blur, so I'm like, okay, was I there for the vote?
But somewhere we need to say that,
Yes.
that you arrived at some.
It says there, it really only says there about at the CRA upon the arrival of Mayor Myers, the commission recessed.
Which is,
And I know that I got there for the,
because you were definitely here for the rest of the night.
prior to that, so I know I was here for the property discussion, I know I was here for the electronic message center,
And I think it was the signs.
and it was the signs,
Okay,
So it was
the
considered.
city entrance signs, because we had done that, so
okay.
I think that's when I came in.
So Mayor, where did you come in?
I came in right at city entrance signs, right after the personnel policies, I did not vote on that.
Right.
Okay, so the minutes would need to reflect that Mayor Myers arrived at the meeting. I don't know what you say, but something.
Yes. And she noted it in the beginning that I was absent,
Right.
but did come in.
You
So,
need, right, you need to, right, but we need to know when because that changes the vote.
Yes.
Okay.
and I did not vote for CC, for the downtown partnership money, I was a nay on that one.
That's what I thought.
And the property discussion on 26 North Main Street.
Yeah. Did
I
I?
recall her voting nay, but I don't know who made the motion, because I don't think you would have made a motion and voted nay.
Right, I don't think I made that motion. Was it Commissioner Rory?
I
mean, I don't think that was one of my main questions.
Someone suggested video.
I don't think I made that motion. And then I did note, Mayor, where did you vote now? That's on the CRA.
And when we authorized the emergency, statistics there, Commissioner, did we do an amount on that?
Yes,
Because that was something mentioned.
there was an amount on that.
It was up to, I believe.
I believe it was like up to 1,400 or something to that. It was right over $1,000.
Right, and what page is that on?
Figure it out. It's right above, it's on page 6.
No, emergency air conditioning.
Yeah,
Right, and that was one of my questions, is there an amount authorized?
just ask.
Yeah, and it
That
was.
needs to be researched.
Okay, correct. Right, and then, right, on page 7, right, the vote on the downtown partnership is not correct. It was Burton and Myers were nay.
Well, there's two votes mentioned. One is there, oh no, that's just the motion in the second, but that was on the first page.
Right.
It says DeVito and Burton. Unfortunately, a lot of times, I don't know why Commissioner read it on Burton, it is that you or me help sometimes. I don't know, do you remember who made that second? On the downtown partnership, or we just need to research that?
I don't know who did that. I do know on page 8, and towards the bottom, there's a bold heading that says letter to Winn-Dixie Corporate. I looked it up, I had the letter, it was to Aldi.
It was to Aldi.
It was Aldi in Batavia, Illinois.
It was. And I don't think Commissioner Burton would have made the motion on the CRA because she voted against it. So
Right, that's what it was.
say that probably was not her.
Right.
Okay, so,
And
do we
then,
have anything? Yes.
well, this is in my notes, but, I believe that the draft letter was approved with changes. So I wrote that. And then, I could not remember, was Commissioner towards the end of the meeting when we were discussing,
Yes, Commissioner Burton had left.
okay, because it doesn't reflect,
It just passed unanimously.
right, but it doesn't reflect when Commissioner Burton left. And she obviously
Before
did,
that conversation started.
right, so that she was not included in that vote. So somewhere it's got to say,
So right before we make the closure, if it concluded that Commissioner Burton left.
so my question is, because there's unresolved issues here, do we need to defer these until the next meeting? when the motion, who made the motion can be resolved.
That's at the commission, if that's what
Can
you.
we have the clerk find it and just approve it tentatively?
That's fine with me if you want to make the motion, I'll vote for it.
We're gonna get back to having 20.
Right, we are.
And
That's
that's
fine with me.
ridiculous.
Okay, so can I have a motion on the, did you make a motion?
No,
I don't think so, we have not had a motion yet.
I move that we approve the minutes from March 12th with the changes that we discussed.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
A proper motion by Commissioner Lori and a second by Commissioner Burton. I'm just gonna do a voice vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, so approved. Let's go on to the next special meeting that we have.
On page 2, where Commissioner Rita says the street, it says the project consists of extending and looping water lines from Oakwood Avenue. Obviously, it's not 17th Street, we don't have 17th Street. It's Oakwood Avenue to Summit Street,
Okay,
which is North Summit Street.
so that should be more.
And again, that's, a lot of that has to do with our technology and it picking up. And, you know, and we're going by a recorder too, so sometimes listening to that recorder can be very difficult, so.
Right, and, anyway, so that should be not 17th, but North Summit.
North Summit.
There was, at the bottom of the page, basically, I added the information that Commissioner Lori gave us about the use of the R&R funds and that we expressed interest in using those funds to reimburse Better Place Plan funds for this work later if feasible. Because that seemed to be fairly strongly felt.
And I'm fine with having that, just we did discuss that.
Right.
You go on to page 3, and you found the legislature did not pass the state budget, and it must be in session to do so before July 1st. Again, they have extended that, they were supposed to meet next week, and I guess all of them are aware that they cannot come to an agreement, yes.
Right, but they have to do it for July 1st.
I know that,
Right, so, I mean, they can wait until June 5th, I mean, June.
but they've done it before.
Yeah.
Right,
There's
Okay,
some cool here.
right. So, just on page 4, as usual, the system, doesn't spell Lockside, the Scottish way, so I changed that, and I put in restaurant, because it's Lockside Restaurant. I don't remember that we talked about Orange Grove, I guess we did.
I don't know what that is.
It was just brought up that he was talking about that, and it was just that we were talking about that was a possibility too
But
for
that's not something
development,
that,
but it's not something, it was just
I don't know
in,
where the Orange Grove is.
exactly, no.
Okay, so that's.
It's just the old Orange Grove, it's the old
Okay, so
Orange
that's
Grove
not, we
property.
can just cross that off of there?
Yeah.
Because that's not a thing.
No.
Thank you.
Okay, so take that out.
Just take that out, because you're gonna confuse people and think that we're talking about something that's not real.
Because they already think that we're having houses built there and there, so.
Right.
Okay.
All right, and then, I added after closing discussion, I added that you shared the revised letter to Aldi Corporate, because I believe you handed it out at that time. Okay, if we could include that, please, and then in the version that I saw online and in my packet, this 5th page was
Oh, yeah, it was on the order.
not there.
It was at the end, yeah. It was after the other 7 minutes by itself. wasn't
It was
Yeah.
before it was
Yeah.
just someplace, just something, somehow in copying, it just got moved around, so.
Okay, and
It's there though.
And then in a circle, I have, did Commissioner Burton leave before the end of this meeting, or was she?
I don't think so, I think it's to the end of this one.
Right, I couldn't remember
Yeah.
which
Yeah,
one it
because
was.
that was very quick discussion.
Okay, so I will take that out.
So I need a motion.
I move that we approve the minutes of March 18th special meeting, with the corrections we discussed.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a proper motion by Commissioner Lori, and we have a second by Commissioner Burton. Do we have any other comments on this? If not, I'm gonna do a voice vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. So approved. Okay, so we got through that. Let's move on to the city manager's report. Do we have any questions, comments on the city manager's report?
Just one,
Yes.
you're not working fast enough.
Man, hello, Karen.
Surprised me.
It's like homecoming day today.
Mayor, I do have a couple of questions for the city manager.
Uh-huh.
So, couple related to, this is historic preservation, recognition time. What is the status of the work on the New Moon Lodge for the architectural plans for which we have a grant?
We actually put in the third quarter documentation. I haven't sent it to you all yet, but that's been completed for the reporting. Right now, we have expended about 40,000 of that grant with the AE firm, which is REG. They are finalizing everything on their reports and putting together schematics, and we should be closing that out pretty shortly.
By pretty shortly,
In the next month.
Okay, because there's a due date for this.
There is, correct.
Okay,
And we're on schedule for that. And the third quarter report wasn't due until April 20th, and I turned it in last week.
okay, and then, Mayor, if I could, another question. Thank you for including in your report, information on certain grants that are hopefully opening up.
Yes.
One is, you mentioned historic preservation grants.
Mhm.
So, those close June 30th, June 1st,
June
sorry,
1st.
April 1st to June 1st. So,
They actually pushed it back for some reason, they didn't
um,
open it up on April first.
well,
Nice red.
right, the Florida Trust has some concerns that the application period hasn't opened up, and, they hope that they're not going to be canceled. But assuming that they open up, I guess we should be thinking if there are any properties that we own or for the Historical Society, we would need to figure that out and make an application, correct? Pretty soon.
And I discussed some options with the city manager, and I think that historic preservation board was going to consider it also, and that's
We have to go for the historic preservation.
part of the recommendation,
Right, and I'll bring it to you.
Right, but that's, well, but,
it's fine, yes.
right, they're gonna meet in April, so you have
It
1
might be
month
this week, yeah.
to get that done next week. And then also, I noticed, in the city manager's report, it referred to our 2 workshops coming up, one on the 15th and one on the 22nd.
Yes, ma'am.
The one on the 22nd, did not reference, the additional topic,
That
and
was,
non-resident owners, and that's in the March 12 minutes. That it's supposed to be on the 22nd, with whatever else.
well,
on
it's
there.
minimum maintenance standards in general, we were supposed to.
Yeah.
I might have a conflict on that day. I've got a family member having surgery,
Okay.
and so there's chances are I might not be here.
And honestly, it was,
Brought this up, that we need to bring it back up.
it was just there to have the date as a reminder. The agenda, we'll make sure we have all of those.
It's on there.
It's on there.
Yeah.
Yes. It was just a date.
Clear up the special meeting for the meeting, submit a workshop, and it's not, we're having the meeting about security procedures.
We're having that first.
Right, but that, it's saying that we have a workshop at that time, and we need to clear that up.
We'll properly put that out. We've got the information from Don on that meeting, so I'll share that with our clerk. We'll make sure that that's out proper.
Yeah, because it's a special meeting, that's.
It is closed meeting.
Oh, and that starts at what time?
1
It's
o'clock
1
is the
o'clock.
first one, and the next one's at 3, the workshop is at 3.
Special meeting, 1 PM.
Right.
And that's Wednesday the 15th, and then,
Yes.
Mayor, if I could have one more question about finance. So if I read this correctly, it says, and we're gonna have to close out of 2025 soon, right?
Yes.
Okay, when I look at this, it says last year we spent in the finance and administration department, we spent $115,000 for accounting and auditing. This year we budgeted $10,000, and we've already spent 12.
Which line item are you specifically looking at?
It's on page 3 of the 12 pages.
Okay,
It's under finance and administration, I
okay.
guess. And it's
Other-
got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's 12 items down. It ends in 3321. Basically, it says we have maxed out our, whatever it was we allocated for accounting and auditing.
Yes, and Steve's not here, he had an emergency, he had to leave. I will say that I have discussed this with Steve, and we're a little heavy in finance and administration, but the numbers are spread out throughout the entire budget for accounting and auditing or other professional services. We're gonna address it, and we'll take care of it this year when we look at our upcoming budget, but I can assure you that there are some overages in finance, but not in other areas.
The 115 though, I think that was the full amount for the.
Correct.
For the auditing, and what happens is they break that out
Yes.
amongst all the.
We spread that out.
Exactly.
Yeah, because
So
everybody
for
has.
some reason, it got reported from last year's as the full amount there. I believe that's what happened.
And we are aware of some overages in that, but we're working on that.
Right, but Mayor, the contract for the audit, for just the auditing firm is more in the $50,000 range.
And also, it does not include any additional work that they have to carry out. And they have done additional work. And then that's if everything works perfectly and they get all the information they need, they get it done immediately.
So I think what we would all like to see, and Mr. Martin, if you can get that for us, because it comes in at different ways.
Yes,
If you could just get us the full amount that James Moore charged us for last year's audit.
Yes, ma'am.
If you'll just get that for us, so we know going forward, basically, and if you would just get from them from the last 2 years
Yes, ma'am.
going forward, so we all have a better understanding how much this is costing us. I mean, it's regardless, we have to have an audit. It's Florida law.
Right.
But we just need to make sure that we can control those numbers
Yes.
as best we possibly can.
I agree. Yes, ma'am.
But, well, Mayor, I do have one more question. So it's my
You said you only
understanding.
had one more. That's
I'm
it.
sorry.
Sorry, I cut you off.
But it-
Go ahead.
Okay. So does the accounting and auditing just include the fees that we also pay to the CPA? And I don't need an answer to that right now, but that's part of it, because it's my understanding that she helps us with things related to the audit, the preparation.
Yes, correct. The preparation and the submission of materials.
Okay. So, and that would be helpful to know what we're spending for that, because when we discussed the budget last year, Mayor, I thought you and I were both interested in when we would be able to, not rely.
I think
We all discussed
We all
discussed. Okay, well, that's
when were we gonna be able to cut the strings?
Right.
I think too, commissioners, please make sure that you keep up with your account balances also. Make sure, because as we go forward, I had this conversation with Steve today and with, Mr. Martin, in that, we have really, after you look at this, we have really got to curtail spending and make sure that we're being told that next year that we're gonna be flat. That it's gonna be flat, that the Florida Power and Light issue is gonna be behind us. But as we go forward, everything will be flat. So we just really need to watch our pennies, even though you don't make pennies anymore. But we just need to be careful, and so everybody just make sure that you are keeping up with your accounting. Hopefully we should be fine. Steve assures us right now that we are fine.
Yes, ma'am.
The end of the ad valorem, it just came in at, March 31st was the cutoff date in order not to be late. And I think he got that payment in, it was a little over $40,000.
Yes, correct.
So we did get that. I was gonna be more, but that's where we are.
Still should back a little bit. Is
Huh?
that the last payment we'll get for?
No, people will still,
Other than the
more
week.
will come in.
Yeah. Because it doesn't go,
It does,
That it's late, but it's not,
It's,
yeah.
well, you're penalized.
Yeah, it's not delinquent, though,
Yes.
yeah, not technically, it's late, but.
I think you are delinquent after the 31st, March 31st.
But it also doesn't auction, yeah.
No, it does,
Like
oh,
the tax- the
no,
tax deeds, that's-
no, you're just delinquent.
Yeah.
Um,
So
the signs, so if you will notice at both ends of town, we do have signs up. The signs are beautiful. We're not sure that that's how it's gonna stay, but it got the signs up for Catfish and for the boat races and for the concert. Ms. Martin made a great suggestion. We can't do anything with those poles right now. Any of you that know, they are pressure treated. You have to let those cure and dry out before we can stain them or paint them or do anything. We'd really kind of like to see those probably on metal poles. The way they're done though, the nice thing about it in hanging those is you can put banners between it, and if you'll notice the boat races, it looks very nice there. But Ms. Martin recommended that in the meantime, and I think this is a great suggestion, that we put hanging flower on each side, hanging flower pots on each side with a bracket. That's a very easy thing to do. And we can do the flowers much like only with color, like they've done it here at the light post.
Yes.
But if anybody does ask, we did at least get those up.
Yes.
And we've gotten quite a few positive comments about it. And so I do want to thank Craig Roberts. He went out there with us and he helped us. Unfortunately, the sign, I know we had that in our discussion for the sign to go to the Historical Society. They wanted it. The main sign down here was already cracked in half. We do have one sign in the annex that is not. We were able to salvage though the bell, so her sitting on the moon, that portion of it has been salvaged.
but Mayor,
Yes.
you threw out the one cracked?
No, it's not, we didn't throw it out.
No, it's just.
Okay, you still have it, but
It should
it's
be
just
over
cracked.
there, yes.
Okay, but it can be.
It's pretty damaged.
It's pretty damaged, you're not gonna
It's
do,
probably,
it's,
yeah.
it's pieces, it's in pieces.
Really?
Yeah, it was in pretty bad shape.
Very brittle material, been out there forever.
It was in pretty bad shape and we tried as best we could to preserve it, but it was, not possible. But I do want to thank Craig Roberts. He did help with both signs, and our staff, Matthew and Keith were out there and, did a great job. And our guys came back and picked everything up. So I do want to.
We just need to do location on three-way.
Yes, and that's what I think Keith and Derek are looking at right now as far as who would allow us. Keith had a good suggestion, it's just you gotta get permission as to where to put it. The electric sign is in, correct?
Yes, so we did receive our community message board. It's just waiting for us to put it together and find the time, so I'll be working on it next week.
Oh, Mayor,
Yes.
speaking of signs, when you come from the south into Crescent City on 17, something has happened to our DOT city limit sign. It is listing at a very bad 45-degree angle. It's been like that for a few days. It looks like someone either pushed it over or ran into it.
We have to look at it and see what's going on. I turn signs all the time because somebody comes along and they're turning stop signs the wrong way.
Yeah.
So
It's that nobody should have touched that unless they pulled over. It's actually in the right of way next to the property that's for sale that is going to be an RV park.
I know where.
Maybe someone parked, it's our official DOT, right?
Somebody might have parked there, but nobody should be touching any of our signs, but they
Right,
do.
well, it's not looking good, so.
And I don't know if any of you saw, but I do want to say, and the chamber did share this with us, and they were very proud of it, and they did help with this as well, because they had the wrong picture, but that we were listed as Travel and Leisure as one of the 8 Florida lake towns perfect for a quiet getaway. So very proud of that.
We had a really great write-up in the Flagler Weekly News about the Catfish Festival too.
Yeah.
And they had great pictures right in front of City Hall, and it looked really good.
And the Palaca Daily News did a good coverage, and they had all the pictures on the back page also.
Oh,
I noticed that, the whole The whole back page is full of catfish pictures. And then Jenny sent this to us and she asked me to share this about dog bites. And so I will say this, we do need to revisit this with dogs. Not just because of the basset, but because when you're out on the street and being back out on the street, there continues to be loose dogs. And dogs that are getting out from under their things. But she did want me to share this, that if there is a dog, threatening dog, you stop and face it, do not run or turn your back. Okay? Create distance, slowly back away, only after the dog stops advancing. Be large and loud, and I have heard that. Shout commands in a deep, firm voice. No, sit back. So it's more throwing your authority. Use barriers. Put a bicycle, jacket, backpack, water bottle between you and the dog. Avoid eye contact. Directly steering can be interpreted as a challenge.
And that is a challenge.
Yes.
When you're trying to assert authority.
Pepper spray and gel, specifically sprays like Sabre red pepper gel with a flip top. Noisemakers, carry one of those, a small pocket-sized air horn or personal alarm. Defense tools, a sturdy stick, umbrella, or hiking pole. If attacked, feed the dog an object. If the dog attacks, offer it a water bottle, backpack, or shoe to bite instead of your body.
But you only thought about that.
Only I had thought about that.
And you have so much time.
That's why.
And this is one of the big things, I think, and so for everybody, especially some of our older community, that if you fall, be very careful, because then you become much more vulnerable. Curl into a ball, protecting your neck, your face, and your arms. And always report aggressive off-leash dogs to local animal control or police. We have a new officer. The officer that attended the last one is no longer here, so we have a new officer. I think it's important that we continue this discussion with the county. We've let it go for a little while, but I'm seeing more and more dogs that are loose, and it is a scary thing. It is a scary thing. So,
And then a dog, I saw recently, right going down 17, a dog with no leash in a shopping cart.
Yeah.
You're supposed
Were
to,
they pushing the shopping cart or riding in the shopping cart?
How is it in the shop?
the dog was in the shopping cart, the owner was pushing it, but I guess my point is, hopefully it was a friendly dog because it was not leashed, it could have jumped out. And it was not properly leashed dog.
I think ultimately making sure that homeowners, it's not the dog's fault, it's
Right.
making sure that our homeowners are being responsible with their animals. And this is not just in Crescent City, not just in Putnam County, it's countrywide. So I know there's no good solutions to that. Do we have anything else, commissioners? Dawn, do you have anything?
Good, thanks.
Now, did you share?
I will. I'll make copies for everybody.
I have one thing to add, if you all, I know the report is it's pretty extensive, and sometimes hyperlinks and things don't work, and I apologize, I'm working on that. There is a part there, that's our project amendment justification. This was for, our Fletcher dock and Central Avenue dock. That's been,
That was the most boring people I've ever seen.
it was so extensive.
Very hard to you.
Oh my goodness, but it's in, and it's looking good. I'm hoping that we get a thumbs up and we can get all of the money back. FDM is telling me that we should be good, so
Okay,
I just want to report that.
thank you.
Yeah.
You
got
it. It
Okay.
I have one.
Yes,
More item.
Commissioner Lloyd?
I just got word, and so Commissioner DeVito, that the She and I were named home rule bureaus. I see it in the show. So, and I don't think you're gonna be there to get your award next month.
No, it's gonna be in Atlantic Beach next one. I actually I was giving that to you.
Where is that? There you go.
I'm
They don't tell
not
us who
sure
else.
I'm going to.
They don't tell us who else.
Because I was just on the committee, so I don't know that but I'm gonna talk to them about it. I got it yesterday. it will be in Atlantic Beach. This one's gonna be in Fernandina. I don't know who's going. Commissioner Burton, you're going. I'm going to this one. And so, yeah, the Atlantic Beach one, neither one of you will be there because it's History Month. And you have to be here that day. You're having your potluck.
It's important,
In Atlantic Beach, you can zip over there.
I'll be on vacation.
You can zip over there if you need to. I don't think we'll have it before, they won't be doing it probably till about 7:30.
Yeah, that's one. I think I did that last year.
Anyway, okay. And congratulations to both of you and thank you for your service. I know Commissioner Burton was also very involved in that and, you know, and it's important that we have representation in Tallahassee and with the, you know, Florida League of Cities. So thank you, all three of you, for your service. Okay, do we have anything else? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn this meeting.
Second.
I have a proper motion by Commissioner DeVito and a second by Commissioner Lori. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Nay, no nays, adjourned at
Don say,
9:26.
you like to stay?
Yeah, we got 30 minutes.